Okie dokie, we are all the way live. I screwed up the intro after that. We are all the way live. Hello and welcome to my graveyard. I'm your host of the evening, the Cemetery Man from Salem, Mass. Always taking names and kicking candy ass, live and in living color here with you on Grande's Graveyard. And tonight we are welcomed by very special guest hosts. We've had this guy on a couple of times for Giallos, for horror roundtables. He's one of my favorite people in the whole wide world. He is the one, the only Matteo Appendino. Welcome, my friend.
Ciao, Grande. Great words. The love is from this side of the border too, man.
Hell yeah, man. All the way from the Great White North, we have Mr. Matteo Appendino and the biggest Giallo fan that I know. And tonight we're going to be talking all things Giallo tier making list here. We have the whole tier list up on the side here, so it's going to be very fun. I've even gone ahead, Matteo, and I pulled out some gialli to be discussed here. We've got all sorts of good stuff
one.
here.
Dolce
to Argento to Alfred Soul, and we even got a brand new background, buddy. We went all yellow tonight with a little Alice, Sweet Alice, a little blood and black lace, and Sleepaway Camp 3 is just the mainstay. We got a yellow shirt. It's all about the Giallo tonight, my friend, and I'm very happy to have you on. There's no one I'd rather have on to talk Giallo, so thank you so much for making the time.
Thank you for having me. And, I had it underneath, but I'm Giallo as well.
Giallo for life, my friend. We got a bunch of people in the chat. We have Joe Mama in the chat. Let's go. Joe Mama, welcome to the graveyard. Miss C says, ciao, Matteo and Grande. Friends, hands, pink waving. Okay. We got King Gore only on the graveyard. Gory Corey is here in the house. I asked everybody favorite Gialli of all time, so we'll hear what the chat has to say. Mernzi's Movie Mansion is here, another fellow Canuck. Happy 2024, Graveyardians. Excited to talk about some Jellos. Yes, of course. I gotta love Mernzi. Mernzi, Happy New Year. Happy New Year to everybody in the chat. It's the first show of 2024. We're kicking this son of a bitch off hot.
Could very well be Happy New Year to the old graveyard.
Absolutely. King Gore says, could very well be Don't Torture a Duckling, though Torso has gotten up there over the years. Well, I think those are both fantastic movies. Can't go wrong with either one of those. Alpha Romero is here. Alpha, ciao, my friend. Argento's Tenebrae would be my favorite. Another banger. I actually have that right. I grabbed that one. I thought I did. Yeah.
Tenebrae, it's a late but good one.
Yeah, it's a damn good one. It's 1982, so yeah, definitely late. Blood and Black Lace, Ob the Goat. I love New York Ripper. Does that count? Absolutely, both of those would count. We actually did New York Ripper the first time we had Matteo on. So if you're interested in Matteo's full thoughts and my full thoughts on that, we did review that, I believe, about a year ago when we had Matteo on.
Yeah, I would summarize it as the New York Ripper kicks asses. I think it's a movie that needs to be watched.
Yes, Daffy Duck voice and all. It's a great movie, and the footsie, and me and Matteo had a fun conversation about
with someone that you just met. It's like not even on Tinder. These kind of things, like the incredible.
Absolutely. Nashi is arguably Giallo-esque. Okay, that's an interesting pick from Mr. John Steele. Welcome, my friend. Let's see. Steele. We got King Gore is very excited. Mellow Yellow, says Miss C. And Jonathan Schwartz, thank you for joining the show, Jonathan. Congrats on more than doubling your subs, Grande. Here's to many more in 2024. Yeah, before we get rolling, I want to say thank you to anyone and everyone that has shared this show out. And, like guys like Corey, guys like Sean Blue, guys like Mernzi, people that have promoted this show, and Miss C, so many wonderful people that have shared this out. And out of nowhere, I went from 750 on Friday morning to 1.65 as the recording of this show. So we had 900 something subscribers in less than a week. I have no idea. I mean, it just humbling. So I wanted to say thank you to anyone and everyone that's been a part of the chat, been on the show, has said kind words and thrown them our way. It means the world to me. It really does. And I am very, very excited to kick off this first New Year show with you, my friend. Are you ready?
Yeah, congratulations as well, man. You must do something right. I don't know what it is, but you must do something right.
I don't know either. I was like, man, I was like astonished. It kept going up and up because on Thursday I said, okay, the goal for the new year will be hitting 1,000. And I hit it before the fucking ball dropped. I was like, holy shit, this is a miracle. So I was very happy, very excited, and we will be doing a big triple giveaway at the end of the month. So if you're a subscriber, follower, listener, whatever, stay tuned for that. You're going to love that. Terrence is here. Hello, all. Thumbs up. Congratulations, Grande. T, my main man T of Psycho Babble. Welcome. Hope all is well with you, Terry. Happy New Year. But all right, Matteo, we can kick this son of a bitch off. You know what, my guest, I want you to pick the movie that goes first, my friend. So any movie you want to pick, let's start this show off hot. What do you got for me, my friend?
Okay, so let's start in a weird way, because I want to say to the chat that we went a little bit sideways with the movies, because Giallo usually is an Italian genre, like the movie are done by Italian directors with Italian actors and everything. There is the barbaric invasions behind. But we went with three movies that are not like classic Giallos, and I want to start with one of them.
Sure, let's do it. What do you got for me?
Let's start with 1984 Brian De Palma, Body Double.
Ooh, all right. Very interesting choice here from Mr. Appendino. And this is definitely, I know there's arguments. There's a couple. I know Stage Fright is some consider as a slasher. We did Body Double. There's also a couple of more. But to you, what makes this a giallo, and how do you feel about this one? What are your thoughts?
I really like Body Double. I think it's a very good movie. Brian De Palma is one of my favorite directors. He went a little bit late years, a little bit sideways, but I like his early work. Blowout is incredible. Body Double is great. I really like this one. I think that the eroticism in the movie, it's part of why it's a giallo. I also think that De Palma switched the gloves and the black outfit for a mask instead. So we don't know the killer through to a mask, instead of like not seeing in the face. You don't see the real killer. I love Melanie Griffith. I think that Craig Westing is fantastic. So I liked it. What are your opinion on the movie?
I like it quite a bit too, and I was actually surprised in the show prep to find out that this movie was sort of a flop. It was made on a budget of like 10 million. It made like 8.8, and this was a movie that was right around De Palma's prime. I mean, you're right. Blowout comes out in 81. That's my favorite De Palma. I mean, you have Carrie in 77. You have The Fury in 78. You have a lot of good
Brian De Palma.
Yeah, I mean, so many good movies. And this one, I feel like is the most Hitchcockian he ever got, because it feels very much like a 80s version of a Rear Window, but with a lot of sleaze, which, I mean, is no, stranger to being in giallo films. There's plenty of sleaze in this movie, and then plenty of seduction where, you're watching a woman get undressed and it's very seductive and kind of inviting. And I thought this was a good choice, because I never would have thought of this, to be honest with you, as a giallo. But when you said it and sent it to me in the list, I was like, that makes total sense. It totally follows the paint by the numbers of what makes a good giallo film. And De Palma making it, that's just so exciting, because I know that a lot of people they'll be, or gialli purists, I guess they say, oh, a giallo can't come from anywhere but Italy. I know that you feel this way too. I feel like that's preposterous, but please give me your thoughts on that. Do you think that's, I think it's just wild for people to say that.
I understand where they're coming from. If the word giallo, we use it just for Italian, and we use the other one as erotic thrillers, like if they're made like in the US. But I think that some movies, like the one which we choose, and even another De Palma movie, which is Dress to Kill, I think that one is a giallo as well. Exactly. Mercy knows. And this movie has some iconic scenes. I think that having Frankie Goes to Hollywood in the movie was awesome, because it's like 1980s great things. And Relax is one of the top 5 for sure, the song of the 80s. And then there's like the apartment where it's shot, like the high rise. It's beautiful location, beautiful setup. The apartment is like 80s again, like yeah, it's another factor. And there is one shot in this movie that I love, which is the drill. So basically he goes to save the girl that is in peril. And he goes to the apartment underneath, and he sees this drill coming out of the ceiling with the blood after all coming out. And I think that was a great De Palma shot.
Yeah, and I think you see a lot of what the filmmaker he grew into being. Like, this really is his prime. And this was an interesting movie for him to make at this time. This was sort of an experimental movie because, like, I look at some of his early experimental work, like whether it be Sisters with Margot Kidder, and they did a lot of the split screen work and stuff. I feel like that movie definitely has, giallo elements, but this movie goes full and beyond, like with the sexual thriller or the erotic thriller, as you were saying. And I thought De Palma did a wonderful job. I think he's the biggest reason to watch this movie. I do think that the acting does good. I mean, I like Melanie Griffith. She was a really, really good looking woman. Deborah Shelton was gorgeous, man. I mean, wow, what a beautiful lady. Go ahead. Were you say something? Oh, Matteo froze. Matteo froze, everybody. But I was going to say, okay, you're back. You're back. Go ahead, buddy.
Sorry. Better that I came back because I'm having some big problems here. What we were saying, sorry, John, I
was naming some of the cast, and I also always thought it was funny that I know it's not a big role, but Barbara Crampton, horror royalty, is in this movie, and I totally forgot that.
Girlfriend.
Yeah. Totally forgot it. I'm like, holy shit, it's Babs before Reanimator fame and before all the Lovecraft and movies and stuff like that.
I don't know if you know, because I don't want to play this game with you, because if I ask if you know, you probably do. But this movie was supposed to be an X-rated movie. That's what De Palma wanted.
That's right.
But then the production said, no, forget about it, because we want to make money.
Yeah, and they didn't anyway, so I think it blew up in their faces. But I don't have this one on the tier list here, but okay. If you were to give this the proverbial A, so we have, I'll show people the list here really quick. Of course, we have S through F, S being the best, F being a failure. What would you give this as a letter grade, Matteo?
I'm going to go high with this one. I really like it, and, I will consider it up there. I'll give it this solid A.
Solid A. Okay, I was going to go A minus, so we're right there in the same column. Nothing to drag, but if you're keeping score at home, we've got this in the A column. I'll go a little bit of a minus here, but I definitely think this is a damn good one, and I appreciate you thinking of this. I think that was a really outside of the box choice here, and a damn good one at that. But you got Neon Black Reviews. Good brother Neil's in the house. Let's rank some gialli. I think I know Neil's favorite gialli, if I'm not mistaken. Happy New Year, Neil! And just to let you know, I know you were one of the people that ordered a shirt. I will be shipping those out ASAP. Just had a crazy couple weeks at work, but as soon as I can, I will be shipping those. Let's see. Nice. Just watched Body Double for the first time over the summer. Miss C, what were your thoughts? Mernsey says, oh shit, Body Double, great film, another De Palma Giallo-esque banger, Dressed to Kill. That's right. Yeah. Love Body Double. I love another De Palma Giallo more. Yeah, I think, that's the beauty of something like this, like a hybrid, if you will. And it's for guys like De Palma to get in there. And I just think it was just so cool for you to pick somebody like him, because that's something I would not have thought of. I think there's a scene in the movie, Slasher Fred, welcome, Happy New Year, Body Double, where Craig Wasson's character being buried alive, and 3 years later, he appeared in the third Elm Street movie. That's right. Yes, that's right. Terry says, Casualties of the War does not get enough love. Anthony Chobot is here. Hey, Happy New Year, buddy. By the way, got 1.11 subs. Hell yeah. What is his opinion of what Spanish version of a giallo would be? What do you have to say to that, Matteo? What is your opinion of what Spanish versions of a giallo? What would you call a Spanish giallo? Amarillo.
Yeah, amarillo. Yeah,
amarillo.
Spanish version of a giallo would be, I don't know, very similar to Italians. They're very similar cultures. I would say probably the setups will be very different, because Italy, I find it more Gothic than Spain. Spain is more like a Moors kind of thing, like the architecture. But I don't know. I'll stick with Italians on this. Nothing against the Spanish, but,
yeah,
we did it pretty good.
Yeah, like while there are exceptions, like Gialli and Italy is just, it goes hand in hand. But like there are exceptions. We have a few. I mean, the one right above my head is an American one that I think is quite a big exception. We got Subjective Perspective Collective. Happy New Year, Dirk. Hey guys, did someone say Gialli? Oh yeah, we did say Gialli. Only on the Graveyard. Man is here. Happy New Year, man. Hope all is well with you. Speaking of Gialli, I'm watching The Man with the Icy Eyes with the beautiful Barbara Boucher. Oh, yeah. We've got a couple of movies with her in it on this list, so no worries.
We do.
People saying, what up, what up? My all-time favorite Giallo is Your Vice is a Locked Room and Only I Have the Key. We're not talking about that one tonight, but that is a damn good one. It was cool. Picked up major Hitchcock vibes. One of my favorite directors. So, Missy, I'm glad to hear that you like Body Double. Matteo's first choice. I'm going to hit you with a big left hand. I watched this a couple nights ago for the first time, and man, this blew me away. I ask you the crucial question, Matteo Appendino, tonight on Grande's Graveyard. I ask you, what have you done to Solange? From 1972 here, of course, directed by Massimilio Dallamano. I was blown away by this movie, but man, tell me your thoughts on what have you done to Solange?
Well, it's the golden year for Giallo, which is 1972, is the year that most Giallo came out in the history of cinema. This is my kind of Giallo. If you ask me what kind of Giallo you like, I will probably tell you that this has all the elements of Giallo, and it strikes the right chords. I really like the acting as well. But what have I done to Solange? For sure, less than what the father of Solange did to her. That's for sure. So yeah. It's very sexual, very sexual. The killings are brutal, and I think it's a very, very interesting Giallo, John.
I do too, and I don't know why, but I had slept on this one for such a long time, and I think what really off the bat just blew me away was the brutality of this movie. And, you know, a lot of the killings, pretty much all of them, have to do with a switchblade going in the private parts of a woman. We'll leave it at that. But it was quite disturbing to see. And I was quite shocked. I wasn't expecting that type of brutality in a movie that's literally over 50 years old. But here it was. And, man, I got to say, I love the lead actress, Christina Galbo. Of course, she was also in Let Sleeping Corpses Lie and The House That Screamed. And I consider her like a low-key scream queen. I really liked her. She was a great there you go, John Steele. Spanish, a little Spanish actress here is pretty much the lead. It's not Solange, even though Solange is in the title. And, you know, the actress who Camille Keaton would go on to be in so many Gialli, and of course in America is most known for I Spit on Your Grave. She plays Solange, but she has no lines. She's just kind of this victim that, you know, perpetrates and make the whole story kind of flow as one. But I loved the mystery here. I loved some of and that's the thing with Gialli too, is dream sequences. When Giallis do dream sequences, I think they're some of the best stuff. And in this movie in particular, I thought there was a great one. There's a scene where this woman's getting murdered, and after she does, it quickly does this great transition of Christina Galbo waking up from a nightmare. It's almost if her entire dream was witnessing this murder. And I thought that was fantastic. Like I was like, wow, that is tremendous stuff from this filmmaker. And man, I don't know why, but I feel like this guy has not done enough. I looked at his filmography because I was so intrigued.
Not a lot.
Do you know why? I was just mind blown.
Fabio, you mean?
No, this is what was his damn name? Massimilio Dallamano.
Oh, yeah, he has not done a lot. I don't know why. I have to be honest. I don't know.
I was surprised, but I did think that this was a damn good one. And man, and like you said, a year of the Gialli, which is 1972. This one stands out strong because of its really disturbing subject matter. Like if you, and we were talking about this over chat, I would compare this to being the closest Gialli to ever reach like the French Extremity stuff. Like yes. There are some really disturbing things in this movie that will really haunt you after you watch it. This is one that you kind of want to watch cartoons after it ends. Like I was like
taking a shower.
Yes, you feel just dirty and gross and horrible about yourself. And I thought this was just wonderful wonderfully made. I loved this movie, and of the ones that you sent on this list that I hadn't seen before, this was easily my favorite, and I would say is a slam dunk S for me. How would you feel?
No doubt, no doubt. And I'm gonna say a metaphor that will sound poetic, but if you think the Giallo genre is like notes, right? There's like 7 notes. There are the 7 aspect of Giallos, and you press them harder and harder. This one press a lot of notes of the Giallo aspects, like sexuality, violence, and they're all like struck perfectly. Like it makes a very, very almost a perfect movie.
I would agree. I think it's damn close. I was so hooked from the word go. I just thought this movie was fantastic. I loved the pacing, loved the acting, loved the murder sequences. I thought it was disturbing in a way that a really solid horror movie should be. And it's disturbing, grotesque, violent, all these things without being overindulgent or over the
Yeah,
top, I guess. It's effectively doing what it's doing. I feel like it's not like trying to offend you, it just does, and I think that there's a big fine line between movies that just try to, I'm just going to do everything I can to kind of push the envelope. I don't know if that necessarily works, but here it feels like it's just done so organically that I was with it every step of the way. So Solange, what have you ever done to Solange? Well, I'll tell you what we're going to do to Solange. I
give
felt
me
bad
an
for her.
S.
I felt bad for Camille Keaton, so she's getting a damn S in this movie. And I will say this before we move on. If you felt bad for what happens to Camille Keaton in I Spit in Your Grave, it's nothing compared to whatever happened
No,
to Solange. It's nothing.
no.
It really is not. I was mind blown, but Matteo, that was a great pick. Let me get back to the chat here. Let's see what anyone thinks about what have you done to Solange. Let's see. Corey says, so good. Okay. I have had What Have You Done to Solange from Arrow for a couple of years now and still haven't watched it, moving up on the list. Dude, highly recommended. I think you would love it because I'm pretty sure I know your favorite Giallo is it might just be mine, Neil. But it's a damn good one. Yes, Solange is very high tier, 9 out of 10 for me. Love Dallamano's School Girls in Peril trilogy, but Solange is the best of the three. So I have not seen this trilogy. Matteo, do you know the other two that he's
I
talking
have
about?
seen another one that is What Have You Done to Our Daughters,
Okay.
which is like a continuation of like Solange. But for me, it's lower than What Have You Done to Solange. The third one, I'm not familiar with.
Okay, so fair enough. But hey, that gives me two to seek out because as soon as this ended, I looked at this film. I was like, I need to see more of this man's work because I thought this was tremendous. If you haven't yet watched the sequel, What Have They Done to Your Daughters? Okay, you know what? I have not. So if it's on Blu-ray somewhere, please let me know. I got gift cards galore after Christmas, so I will have to search that one out. I've got that one too, Gory. Okay, so look, like Neil, like gonna have a big trilogy night. That would be a lot of fun. The apartment bathroom scene is pure cinematic Giallo gold. I agree completely. I mean, fantastic. Your Italian is marvelous, Grande. Well, hey, I'm with the real Italian expert here who's from Italy, so he's the maestro here.
He's Italian, non male, non male, non male.
Not bad. No, I agree, King Gore. I'd say watch Red Rings of Fear as well. Okay, I guess that's the third one. Let's see. I agree, man. If I ever met Grande, I'd want him to talk in Italian or Dusty Rhodes impression. Well, that's certainly two ends of the spectrum here. But Mr. Appendino, what do you got for us next, my friend?
All right, let's go. I don't want to do a big one. Let's go with this. The Case of the Scorpion Tail.
Okay, so this came out in 1971.
71.
This is a Martino joint. I watched quite a few Martino movies this week in preparation for the show. This is not one I did get to rewatch, so I would definitely like to hear your thoughts on this one first. Did this one, I believe this was one that you were telling me did not hold up as well for you?
No, when I watched it first, I really like it because there's something different than all the other Giallo movies. Spoiler alert, the person that does the investigation ends up to be the killer. So, yeah, right? So that's a good twist. Did I froze? No.
No, you're good. I'm listening to you.
The locations are great. It's about basically heiress of like a lot of money from the husband that have died in a plane crash. There's going to be the inspector of the insurance that is coming and checking if there's some foul play in the accident and everything. And basically, this insurance guy that is going to do the investigation, it's going to be the killer. So that was good. But not a lot of body count, not a lot of suspense. I think of Martino, it's probably one of the lowest that I will grade, let's say. He has done
Okay, well,
many other things.
yeah, I watched most of the other I think I watched almost all the other Martino ones. This was the outlier for this week. And I think that, man, you know, we were talking about him and his career, and I definitely want to discuss it a little bit here on the show. I know we were discussing, hey, if we could have one come back, any of these great Italian gialli filmmakers come back and make one in their prime. You and I said Argento, but if there was one that was overall the best for you, the one that was the most consistent, the one that was the most well-rounded, you in fact told me Martino. I would love for you to explain that. Tell us why you go Martino over a Fulci, over a Bava, over Argento as being the most well-rounded gialli filmmaker.
Well, Fulci did a wonderful job also for, these supernatural movie or horror movies, zombie movies. He's a man of different crafts. Martino, other than Giallo movies, he has done some other Italian stuff, but his Italian stuff, it's pretty childish and, it's not the best. But when he does Giallo, when he goes in the craft of doing Giallo, Martino usually, if you watch one of these worst movie, you're still gonna like it. You're still gonna like it, and when he goes high, he stays up there. Because for me, he made one of the top 5 Giallo of all time, in my opinion, which we're gonna go later.
Sure. Yeah.
In the list, right?
Yeah, no, and I think that you hit the nail on the head. I think Martino, it's weird. Like, you look at Fulci, he did other movies that were successful, like The Beyond and City of Living Dead and The Devil's Honey, and a lot of movies, other Giallo, non-Giallo movies that Fulci did. Dario too. I mean, Suspiria. Most people say Suspiria is the greatest thing he ever did, even though it has elements. It's not a Giallo. It's a witch film. And I mean, yeah, and then you look at Bava. Yeah, Bava did every single genre that there ever was. All those guys were really well-rounded. But Martino seemed to be kind of the outlier where after he moved on from making gialli, you're right. I think this stuff kind of took a dip. Like, don't get me wrong. Yeah. I know that Mernsy and I love the Mountain of the Cannibal God, but that's not the greatest movie in comparison to, some of his other work, whether it be All the Colors of the Dark or, Torso or the Strange Vice of Mrs. Ward and any of these gialli that he made. He did seem to take the biggest dip into when he went to other genres. He just didn't click. It felt like something was off. And that's a shame, but I agree with you. I think he was such a well-rounded gialli filmmaker. I mean, I really enjoy all the titles that I've seen that Martino directed that were gialli. And let me ask you this question.
And they're different, John, don't you think? Like, for example, Torso and All Colors of the Dark and The Case of the Scorpion Tail are 3 different movies. They're not like, when you see Argento and then you see another Argento movie, you're like, oh, this is Dario. I can see it. It's operatic, the colors, and everything. But Martino differentiated within Giallo movies.
Yeah, and I really do think I think you made a great point. He is really well-rounded at making them. Like, I was like, I really thought about that because at first your brain immediately jumps to one of those big 3 directors because it's Fulci, Argento, and Bava. But man, Martino was right up there with him at this time. He was making movies as good, if not better, than those 3 guys were. And I think that's got to be stated somewhere. And I think that he did a really good job with the ones that I watched. I really, really enjoy. Of course, I know the one that's in your top 5 that we'll be discussing on a little bit later. But where would you rank this one? I know you said it fell off upon a rewatch. You said it was a little bit slow. Where would you rank this one?
I will give him a C.
The Case of the Scorpion's Tail, it'll go right here at a C. So we've got 2 on the list so far. We're going to fill this son of a bitch out. Don't you worry. But let me go here and let's see what the chat has to say. John Steele, he says, yes, I like this one. Okay. Neil says, I've got Scorpion's Tail and I enjoyed it pretty well from what I remember. Okay. I need to revisit this one because it's more of crime type, but I will keep it.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Martino's the man. Yeah, that one was a snoozer. Okay. So it seems like most people are in agreement. But big Martino fan. Imagine walking up to Edward Finch too. Well, it was his brother, right? Wasn't it Sergio Martino's brother that was married to Edward Finch?
Yeah, she was, and then also like with another rich man after, but Edwige man.
Oh, beautiful lady. And I'll
Oh
tell you
my
what,
God.
since somebody mentioned her, I'll do an Edwidge Finch Giallo next. But yeah, no, I believe she was married to his brother and he produced all his work, and
Yeah,
that's why she's in All the Colors of the Dark, and she's in you know, Jesus Christ, Strange Advice of Mrs. Ward. I mean, she's in a ton of them that he did.
done.
And she's done a ton in general. So I'm excited to get into one of the ones she was in. I would go with Baba being the Giallo Maestro, in my opinion. Well, he invented the whole damn thing with the girl who knew too much, which we will also be discussing here tonight. That's a good point about Martino. Thank you. Have you guys ever watched the trailer to the OG Suspiria? It shows the woman brushing her hair and it turns to reveal a skeleton, which is very similar to the original Psycho. That's a good point, man. That's a damn good point. But let's get into one here next here where I'm going to take a look at the list and pick one right out of the list. Let's talk about this one, which I watched not terribly long ago. This is in a high-rise apartment. This is The Case of the Bloody Iris. Matteo, Case of the Bloody Iris. What do you think of this one, man?
Guess what year he came out?
1972?
You got it. Yeah, another 1972 with Edwige. Edwige, guys, like it's my childhood crush. She was in all these movies. In Italy, she's super famous, and she did a lot of sexy movies. And you know, she's my like favorite Italian, because she's from Hungary, but she's like Italian adopted. So really have a soft spot in my heart. Movie, meh. So I like the location of the high rise, which is something that probably, I don't want to say that Dario took in Inferno, but for me it was a very Inferno kind of setup. The killer reveal, not my favorite. I would say really that Edwige is the best part of this movie. Like,
it's definitely, it's quite sleazy. I mean, you get a lot of not exactly prostitutes, but like dancers getting killed in this movie. And I thought it was quite fun. Like, I enjoyed this from start to finish. I thought this was a solid Giallo. Of course, Edwidge Finch and others they work in this kind of lounge, I guess you would say. And
yeah,
one by one,
that way.
yeah. One by one, they're getting picked off, and the killer has like this unique way of killing you, where he drowns you. Like the killer is, I guess, yeah, like afraid of blood, I guess. And there's also another character that's afraid of blood. So you have that theme going on here, which I thought was interesting. You had to kill people in unique ways that did not involve a lot of gore. So I thought that was a creative way to do some creative death scenes. You have one woman tied up and just drowned in a bathtub. I thought that was pretty mean-spirited. That would be a brutal way to go, I thought. And I don't know. I didn't mind the finale. The thing with the dummy falling down the
yeah, the stair shaft. I don't know, but yeah, it's very sexual, and the motive of the killer is anti-sexual. It's because someone is involved in sex and he doesn't want anything to do with it.
Yeah, and they do a lot of they really tried hard. I noticed in this with the red herrings to make you think it wasn't. And about 30 minutes, I was like, I know who it is. Like, it has to be this. And I'm waiting. And I'm like, they're like, oh, it's definitely this guy. And I'm like, no, I'm gonna stick with my thoughts. And I was like, God damn it, I knew it. But I don't think in a bad way. I think this is like an average, just maybe a little bit above average. For me, this is going to come in like a B+. Where would this one rank for you?
For me, it goes with the Scorpion Tail. With C.
Okay, so I went B+. Matteo goes C. So I guess that'll bump it up to a B-. So we'll keep it here. They don't have a B- row, but B- will be our official.
For me, for my taste, John, this was too claustrophobic as a Giallo. Too much interior. That's a little bit, yeah.
I did think the director did a good job. Again, he did not go on to do all that much, this filmmaker, and I thought he did a decent enough job. I think they did a nice, shadow sequences and trying to build tension and trying to, shoot around Edwidge Finetch's beauty and like really create that good atmosphere. And I thought he did. I thought it was a good attempt. It's something that I would have given him another chance if I was Martino's brother and had the producer. I would have been like, we're going to give this another go and we'll give you Edwidge again and we'll see where you can go with this. But yeah, she was beautiful, man. And before I get to comments, let me ask, if you could make your own personal Giallo with any time period, any actress as your lead, are you going with Edwidge as your lead actress here, or would you go with somebody else with acting ability over beauty? Because I know she's a beauty and she's a fine actress, but let's say you're in the director's chair, you're getting to call the shots, and you have the choice. Who's the actress you'd go with?
Oh man, acting wise, I don't think Edwidge is like the best of the best. So if we want my Giallo to success, I'll probably go with the heavy hitters. I'll go or Daria, Nicolodi, or I'll go Florinda Balkan. I really like Florinda Balkan as well.
You stole it. I was going to say Florinda Balkan, man. She is tremendous actress.
She's a great actress.
Love her. And she's pretty, but like, I mean, obviously not an Edwidge Finetch, sexual presence, but man, Florinda Balkan could work with the best of them. And she's in quite a few of these movies, like Lizards with Woman with the Lizard Skin. And, the other biggie that we'll be talking about later on.
Yes.
Little don't in there, but let's see what the chat says. Let's see. I got to ask my buddy Darren, brought it to my attention. And I agree. Do y'all consider Don't Look Now a Giallo? I do. What do you think?
Oof. I don't know. I have to think about it. It's not an easy question. If you ask me and you say you have 3 seconds, I will tell you, Don't Look Now. It is a Giallo.
Okay, fair enough. I would lean towards no, but it definitely, there's elements, so you can make the argument, I think, for sure. Dirt, go to bed or watch Crying Iceman movie. Oh, God. Okay, we got Gizmo in the house. Gizmo, welcome. Happy New Year to you, my friend. Hope all is well. Let's see. King Gore says B-, C+. It does things. I can dig it. Okay. Neon says, I own Bloody Iris, but it's still on the list to watch. Okay. Sallow or 120 Days of Solemn is the best Giallo. Well, that one's not a Giallo, in my opinion.
There's more brown than yellow there.
Yes, definitely more brown there. We got Cinephile Sanity, the new name for Sean Blue. What's up, Graveyard Crew? Great to see Grande and Matteo on the panel. Also great to finally see Grande past 1K now. He certainly deserves it, dude. Thank you so much. And I want to thank you in particular for always sharing out my stream and stuff like that and throwing kind words my way. It means a lot, man. Thank you so much. Couldn't have done it without you. I'm going Anita Strindberg. Okay, that's an interesting choice. That's definitely an out-of-the-box choice. I like that. What's good, Sean? People saying hi to one another. Let's see, Cinephiles. I don't consider Don't Look Now as a Giallo, but it has elements, but I just never looked at it as a Giallo. Yeah, I would say the same thing. I would be in the same boat as that. But Matteo, what do you got for us next, my friend?
Okay, let's stay with the beauty. Let's do another Edwidge. But this one, in my opinion, is much better than the Bloody Iris. Let's talk of All Colors of the Dark.
Ooh, hell yeah, man. All Colors of the Dark.
Martino.
Yes, much better.
So these are two things that are already good for Giallo. This one has a different take because this one has some satanic elements that we don't often see in Giallo. There's also psychological elements. Giallo has a lot of that, especially in Dario Argento, that we have trauma, we have subconscious, we have, dreamlike experiences, and this one touches all of them. The protagonist of the movie, she has a miscarriage during an accident. She has the mother that dies very young, and she's traumatized by this element. And then she basically go and get part of a satanic sect. And then from there, things are going very south. And I really like it. I think it's like flavor of Giallo that there's only in this movie. I think this not supernatural, but like satanic element really gets this movie going. And Edwige again, it's incredible.
Yeah, this was an interesting role for her because I would not have probably picked her for something like this, but I'm glad that they were in charge of picking and I wasn't, because I figured this was a really tough emotional role where you have to carry the trauma of losing a child in an accident like that, and then of course what directions do you turn? Her friends like, hey, you should see a psychiatrist, and that sounds like a good idea at the time, and then
then it's not.
No, it is not. It was definitely not in this particular case. But I think she does a great job here. I would say arguably this might be her best performance in any gialli that she was ever in.
This one and Vice.
Yes.
Yeah, this one and Vice for sure are above the others.
Yes, and I thought that, like you said, I think this one was really a different flavor of a giallo. And I know that they did that documentary, which was All the Colors of Giallo, and that, of course, a nod to this movie. So, I mean, it did something right. They made a giallo documentary, and homaging and giving credit to all the great gialli that there have been over the years. And this was the one they used for the play on the title. So that's really cool.
Very nice documentary, by the way, All Colors of Giallo.
Yes, that's a fantastic. I believe it was Severin that put that one out. That's a really, really, really good one. And I don't know. I thought this one was damn good from start to finish. I thought this was a really
shots very well.
Yes, trippy in some ways. Very. I know there not too much like drug influence here, but I definitely felt it. Like it felt very abstract to me as opposed to some of the other Martino movies, and
especially in the sect scenes.
Yes. Yeah. Oh man, definitely. Yeah. Some like orgy kind of stuff where I'm like, but entertaining and nonetheless. I really quite like this one too. I think it was a damn good one. What would you, if you had to rate this one? I would say like an A minus for me on this.
We got it. A for sure for me.
A for sure. Okay. Is this one All the Colors of the Dark? Okay. So we're going to move that one way up here. And now we got one in at least all the front 4 rows here. So there we go here with the slasher. I'm sorry, not the slasher, but the giallo list. We got it rocking and rolling, my friend. Let's see what you guys say. We've got All the Colors of the Dark as a trip. Okay. We've got Cooper Glover in the house. Welcome, Brian. Happy New Year. Can't tell you how happy I was when I first watched All the Colors of the Dark. It turned out to be really good. Super underrated. Great pick, Matteo. Absolutely, I agree. Sean saying he's the new name. That ending is kind of ambiguous if you think about it, and could argue it's a supernatural giallo. Yeah, what did you make of the ending of this one?
For me, with Laura being being the killer, like there's no. I don't think they're supernatural at all. I think it's just to trip your mind.
Yes, I agree. I think it's a totally. I'm on the same page with you. All the Colors is awesome. That opening scene with it. Yeah, it's a heavy way to open a film for sure. It's definitely, and it sets a good tone because the movie really doesn't let it down from there. Brian, cool name. Sean, agreed. Neon Black reviews. I love All the Colors of the Dark, but it doesn't seem to sit well with a lot of people. Probably the psychedelic elements that throw people out of whack. But who knows? See, that's the thing I think is so great about it. Like it's not just like all the others. There's that little bit of difference that makes it stand out. Like you were saying, this is the one of one that stands out for a good reason. And I think that's something important, like, and you look at America and all the slasher movies, when you finally see a slasher movie that does something a little bit different, to me, it makes it stand out in a good way. If it's
when
done
it's
right.
Unique and original, man, other than a remake or the 10th or 13th of a franchise, it needs just to be appreciated.
Completely. Always dug All the Colors. Okay, so it seems like that's a very well liked one. Let's see. And the actress in All the Colors, absolutely beautiful to look at. Edwidge Finch, baby, gotta love it. Just a trip, love it. Hey John, people saying hi to one another. Okay. All right, so let's move on. I think this is just a bunch of people saying hi to one another, and I'll take another ghouly gander at the list of Jolly here. Let's take a look here. You know what? I think we've danced around long enough. I think we got to get to one of the bigger ones here.
Okay.
And this is you know what? It's Maestro time, Matteo. It's Maestro time, and I'm not going to go with his first ever movie. I'm not going to go with his best gialli. I'm going to go with one that I think needs to be talked about a little bit more. A movie that he made, of course, after delving into the two wonderful witch films in Suspiria and Inferno, respectively. This is from the year 1982. This is Tenebrae, aka the Darkness. If you know I think it translates to the darkness, right?
Yeah, the only thing, John, sorry that with the Italian I'll correct you. So Tenebrae, it's like the Latin way, and it's like just for don't be butchered. But the name is Tenebrae.
Tenebrae, okay, and that translates to
darkness.
Darkness, okay, not the dark, just darkness.
Darkness.
Darkness. Okay. Well, tell me, man, because this was an interesting point of his career. And we're going to talk about, of course, at least 3 Argento Gialli tonight. But this one, I think, was at the most interesting point of his career because Inferno comes out. Argento himself was not that happy with Inferno. There was no doubting that. I know there's all sorts of stories that Mario Bava had stepped in and directed some of it. And visually, you could totally feel Bava's presence being there. Yeah. Of course, Dario was deathly ill on the set of making that movie, and he was not happy with it. A lot of people critiqued the movie, consider it to be one of his weaker films. The movie is aged better than that, but at the time it was considered a big letdown coming off of Suspiria. And of course, he goes back to the well. What got you to the dance? The 3 animals in Profondo Rosso. Here he goes back to Tenebrae. And man, I think he knocked it out of the park. What do you think of this one, man?
Incredible. Welcome back, Maestro. Because after the 1980 50-50 Bava Argento movie in Inferno, because of my opinion, there is Bava, like you can see Bava in there.
Yeah.
Great, unexpected, something different, great shots, great killings, great suspense, twist on the 2 killers.
Yes.
So many different things, and trauma. There's everything going on. All the good aspect of the Giallo is being touched. It's always so operatic and Argento-esque. And we want to add the Goblin soundtrack to that I'm really fun in this movie. Man, it's a ride from beginning to end.
Yeah, it is. And to me, it was such a great response. Whether you like or hate Inferno, I felt it was such a great response to all the people that were criticizing him and saying, you need to go back to what you used to do. And he did it in an amazing way. I mean, I really think he made the right decision after Profondo Rosso to go and make something like Suspiria, because had he done another Giallo, I just don't, there's no way it would have lived up. I think he needed some time in between to really, test his creative. And man, he returns to it here like he had never left in 1975. And I just love this thing. I mean, you have great veteran actor John Saxon is there as a detective. You have, some really creative and gory kills. This is really the movie to me where Argento just said, we're throwing blood at this son of a bitch. I mean, that great blood splatter with the arm kill at the end and beautifully swirling on the wall. And I know we were talking that woman had married the Prime Minister of Italy, aka the Prime Minister of Sinister, and he hated that she was in this and all of this. And I thought that was a great kind of fun fact. But to me, the scene that makes this like an all-time classic S-tier Giallo for me is the scene in the apartment where Argento uses that wonderful crane shot of we go from one window to the next as these 2 women are talking, and it doesn't really matter what they're talking about, but they're about to be killed. And man, the way that it kind of ends with this shot here, that's some of the best filmmaking you'll ever see. I watch that every time I watch it. I'm never ceased to be amazed of how great Dario was and how much thought, effort, and talent went into making that sequence work. And even everything from the switchblade to the shirt, and you see the beautiful woman's face, that could be a painting. This entire movie is full of shots where if you had an artist around it, here's a canvas, go. And some of the beautiful dream sequences with the woman in the red heels walking along the beach and sometimes torturing the poor guy, sticking her heel in his mouth. I just think this is a masterpiece, man. I can't tell you enough how much I love this movie. I really, really,
I want
really
to tell you another couple of things that I really appreciated. I think that in this movie, the performance of Anthony Franciosa is very good, very,
Yeah.
very good. Same with Daria, and the I find also that you were talking about painting and art because at the end the protagonist gets killed with a piece of art. So
With the sculptor, yeah.
yeah. So then it's we go full circle.
Yeah, and it's poetic. I don't know. I think that it's just such a
Yeah,
great movie. And like also another thing about it, I could go all day with this movie. I
I
love
know.
John Saxon's death scene is so good because you never expect it. Like broad daylight, there's people around, just bam. I was like, what? Like absolutely
Yeah.
blew my mind. I love the score by Goblin, of course, returning here. Of course, there's no topping Profondo Rosso or Dawn of the Dead, but if there is a number 3 in my favorite Goblin scores, it's this one right here. And even some of the opening stuff, like the opening kill of Ania Peroni with those beautiful eyes. Of course, she had played the Mother of Tears in Inferno just 2 years prior, and of course, the year before this works with Fulci in The House by the Cemetery. I just thought that kill was fantastic. As this woman who steals the book from the store and he's shoving the pages into her mouth, and oh man, to me, one of the best Giallo movies of all time, and arguably, I don't know if you feel this way, but I would say it's definitely one of the more underrated Argentos. Like it's a great one, man. I think it would make my top 5 Argentos.
But maybe even top 3, and nobody's gonna tell you anything about it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just really. I mean, and okay, so I don't know if I have to ask this question, but I'm thinking we're both going to go slam dunk S
Let's
here.
go up. Let's go up.
Hell yeah! So Solange has some company now. Tenebrae, sorry, not Tenebrae. Tenebrae has joined it here, and let's see what the chat thinks of this one, because I think from what I saw at a Ghoulie Gander, we saw some very high praise for this one. Absolutely, Edwidge Finesse is Giallo goddess. Absolutely agree with that. This is my absolute favorite Giallo, Tenebrae. Tenebrae. Sorry, I'm so hard.
It's okay, John. It's okay.
Tenebrae, wicked kills in this one. Fantastic score by Goblin. Completely agree. Just rewatched Tenebrae and still really like it. I do too. I really regret not getting in on the 4K. I should have upgraded this, but now it's like $70. So I can't. That's just too much to me. Let's see. I think you can definitely tell Italian and Giallo inspired American slashers. Yes, and we will talk Bay of Blood. That is definitely, we were chatting the other day about this, that movie influenced American slasher movies for years to come. And it did it 10 years before the boom really hit. Unpopular opinion, but I always found the score for Tenebrae to be a little dull and irritated after a while. Really? That's interesting. Let me ask you a little bit off topic. What did you think of Keith Emerson's score of Inferno? Did you like that? Or, because I always had a problem with it.
I didn't. I find it. I was used to Goblin. I was used to prog rock, so it was quite the change. I think it's more of a Bava kind of soundtrack, if you ask me, the Emerson one. So not to go again that Inferno is it's a Bava movie, but no, I didn't like it.
I didn't either. I felt like he was trying to be Goblin, like and it just didn't work for me. And I like Emerson Lake Palmer. I do. I don't know, man.
And young.
Yeah. No, I don't know, for whatever reason. I was always like, this is a weird. That score just doesn't work for me because you just can't replace Goblin. But the movie itself, love Tenebrae. Okay. Let's see. Tenebrae, a damn near perfect Giallo for me. Okay. Tenebrae is my favorite Giallo film I've seen, but I have a lot more I need to watch. Wow. So a lot of people saying this is their absolute favorites. Yeah, it's great. I wonder if Argento took something from Nightmares in a Damaged Brain. If you know, you know. Yeah. Okay. One of the best endings to a horror film ever. Very interesting. Top 3 for sure. Wow. This is maybe it's not that underrated. It goes back and forth with Suspiria for me as my favorite Argento. I mean, I think it's definitely in the top 5. I would say Suspiria or another movie we're going to talk about in a little bit are my top 2 for sure.
I want to say that those 3, they rotate for me.
Sure.
Suspiria, the other one, and Tenebrae in the top 3. I would put them there.
Yeah, I would say Phenomena and Opera would also be in the conversation for me for like top 5 Argento, but because they're 5 perfect films. But what do you got for us next, Mr. Appendino? That's a tough act to follow. I'm not going to lie to you.
Well, that's why I'm gonna go to make the board even fuller, because this one is for me not a big success. But let's talk about Lamberto Bava, 1983, A Blade in the Dark.
Really? Oh
Yeah.
man, we might be different on this one, my friend. Okay, do tell though. If you're trying to fill out a list here, do tell.
Okay, so I found it not up to par. It's a late one. Yeah, 1983. Things were being done. I find this a ripoff of Dress to Kill. I don't know if you can see that. And also the same year, Sleepaway Camp came out.
And Unhinged. I would even say Unhinged.
Yeah, so for me, it was something not original. The setup and the shooting of the movie, it is good. The title in English is better than the Italian title for once. So A Blade in the Dark, in Italian, the real title, it would be literally translated as The Staircase in the Dark, which it's a recall. I know it's a recall from the initial scene, which I really like, which is the beginning of a movie, but we don't know that it's the beginning of a movie. So like you're scared from the beginning that this house is gonna have something bad is gonna happen. So at the end, let's put it this way: spoiler alert. There's a cross-dressing um, uh, killer. For me, it reminded me also of Psycho a little bit. So yeah, I didn't like it, and I don't have a lot of respect for Lamberto Bava, because he did some other movies that I really no. I think that he tried, but your dad is the man. So yeah, that's what it is.
Wow. Okay. Wow. This is a curveball. I was going to ask you too thoughts on Lamberto, but you answered them before I could even ask. Um, I got to give my brief thoughts, and then I do want to touch a little bit on Lamberto with you, if that's okay.
Yeah, go for it.
I got to say off the bat, I really like the idea of this being they're shooting a movie, and it's a Giallo. Like I was like, that's an interesting. I just thought the setting was interesting, and then of course playing with the whole idea of this kid that's being teased as a child, and you're a girl,
Yeah.
and of course that kind of plays in, and he kills women out of fear, and it's a. I think psychologically it was a really interesting take on the killer psychology, and of course the setting of the movie. I thought that was a lot of fun. I kind of liked this movie. I always have. I always felt it was a little bit underrated. And, there's no doubt that Lamberto's not Mario, but I do like Macabre. I do like
Yeah,
this.
Macabre. See, okay, that one I'll follow. Yes, it's sick, by the way, that movie.
Oh, talk about getting good head.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that one I'll give it to you. I really like Macabre as well. But for the rest, yeah, really grande. I've seen things, I'm in Italian of Lamberto that you're like, no, man. No.
Well, let me ask you this, because I was going to ask anyway. I actually had it written down to ask you. Why do you think Lamberto was not as successful as Mario? Because there's no secret, there's no denying, there's nobody is ever going to tell you, oh, I prefer Lamberto. There's just nobody. But I wouldn't say he's like a failure or a bad filmmaker. Like,
No.
I hate to throw names, but Romero's son, like I never thought Romero's son had it. He just didn't have what his dad had. But like, why do you think the apple fell so far from the tree from Mario to Lamberto? Like, what about their styles didn't work for Lamberto that did work for Mario?
Well, maybe because the things that Lamberto was doing, Mario was doing 20 years ago and better. I think that Lamberto should have found his own way, instead of, like, I don't want to say mocking, but at the same time, you make Giallos, your name is Baba. Do you really want to, like, maybe earn just because of your last name and the kind of movies that your dad was doing? So I think that Lamberto probably tried to imitate his dad too much, and he should probably found his own way.
Do you believe that he lived in the shadow a little bit? Was the shadow too big to overcome?
The shoes were hard to fill.
Yeah.
The guy invented the genre, so like it's impossible almost, right?
It is. I think, that's the thing. Like a lot of people would say that Dario was really Mario's protege. And then Dario's protege is Michele Soavi, who we'll be discussing tonight as well. But I think that, Lamberto always gets lost in that shuffle, even though he was the blood of Mario. And I don't know. I feel like his name is his biggest enemy, because if he wasn't named Lamberto Bava, I wonder if he'd be talked about a little bit more. I wonder if he'd have a reputation, or would he be another Massimilio Dallamano?
Or Giuliano Carmineo, right?
Yes. Yeah. I wonder, in a parallel world, I would be curious to see if he'd be better received. But at the same time, I know that, people aren't as high on Lamberto, and I'm not either. But I will say this. It's impossible to fill that guy's shoes. It's just impossible. I really it's the same case of a John Belushi and Jim Belushi.
Yeah.
John Belushi is one of the greatest comedic talents of all time. I like Jim Belushi, but no one could recreate what John could do. He was a once in a lifetime talent, even though it was his brother, even though they were X amount of years apart. It's just nobody can replicate it, no matter how close to a bloodline or whatever. And I kind of feel that way with Lamberto. I feel like you're in a no-win situation. You're Frank Sinatra Jr. You're Jim Belushi.
I can see where you're going with this.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess maybe part of me just feels like, I guess
on it.
Yeah, I do. I guess I do. I don't know. I don't mind this one though, man. I would say this is a strong B+ for me. Where would you go D on this?
A stronger what?
I said B+.
B+. Okay, yeah, we have to put it in C, because for me that's a D.
Okay, so that's the D here. Is that one on here is the question. Blade in the Dark. I thought it was. Here it is. Okay, so we go right in the C, joins the Case of the Scorpion's Tail, and we have a nice little C made up right here. Check that out. Nice little C. We had a nice little C made out right here, my friend. So, okay, we go from Lamberto, and you know what? I say we went Lamberto. Why don't we go Mario now? Why not? We've danced around him long enough. But I'm sorry. We'll go back to the comments really quick. Let's see. Opera makes my eyes hurt. Yeah. Totally agree. Besides that bathroom kill that earned it to get banned in a bunch of places, it's pretty lackluster. Okay, so Mernzi's right there with you. Let him cook. Who was your favorite writer of Gialli between? Oh, geez, these two names. I don't want to butcher them, Matteo. Do you want to give
Sacchetti and Gistaldi?
I don't know. What would you say?
Gistaldi, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have Blade in the Dark on DVD, which makes it one of very few DVDs I still own. Haven't watched it yet. It's not bad. I highly recommend to watch it in Italian. Well, that's for any Italian. Watch it in Italian if you can. But the dub version is fun. I'm sure it's probably like House by the Cemetery. He will. Yeah, it's just impossible. I feel like it's impossible shoes. But let's go to one of his works from his father here. And this is the movie that, in my opinion, really created the whole Giallo genre. I thought I had it here. I was going to click on it to grab it up here, but I don't see it here. But I won't keep you in it. Oh, here it is. Okay. From the year 1963, a lot of people consider this to be the very first Giallo ever made. This is The Girl Who Knew Too Much, a.k.a. The Evil Eye, which I never knew until 2 days ago. That was the alternate title. Black and white. John Saxon shows up again, so always good to see John Saxon. I didn't get the chance to rewatch this entire movie, but I did watch the first half of it. And I will say this. This is definitely the first movie that you could consider a Giallo. I think it is the movie that gave birth to it. However, at the same time, it's not the traditional Giallo that we would go on to know. I would say very much more that the segment in Black Sabbath with the call girl on the telephone, that's way more to me what influenced the rest of these as opposed to this. But this I felt was, definitely more crimey, definitely a precursor to what we were about to get, like an appetizer, if you will, but a damn good one in that. But what did you feel about this one?
Exactly like you. I think that the setup in Rome was great. The shooting and cinematography, come on. I don't have to teach him anything to Mario. I liked it. I find it Hitchcockian, and I found it also... I don't know if you're familiar with not Blood and Black Lace, but the other old movie that has the word black lace in the title. It's like about well, it's like, I think it's Hitchcock, but I'm not sure. Um, I think it was a great movie. I think it was a precursor. It was done in 1963. So, like, we're talking like 12, 15 years before, like, Deep Red or Bird. Like, it's really a precursor. The story is good. I really like this dream sequence that it looks like she's seen something, but she doesn't know what it is. The detail missing, we're starting to see this Giallo pattern. And
Yes.
you take this craft, he created the mold with this, and then later on he molded in so much more beautiful things to look at. The color as well, I think that really gave Baba uh, so much more to play with than the black and white.
I agree completely. I think he's a guy. Once he got to play with color, he really. I mean, we look no further than this movie we'll talk about in a little bit when he got to finally play with color. And I definitely agree. This is a really nice kind of precursor, and you also get a lot of the vibes of Black Sunday, which of course had come out in 1960 with Barbara Steele. That was the movie that he kind of introduced himself to the horror world. That's a much more gothic horror movie, and I love Black Sunday. I feel like this is, if Black Sunday met a Giallo, this
Yes.
would be the result, because it has that atmosphere, that gothic look of the black and white old school, but he was just kind of reaching the surface on what he was going to be able to do when he really, in my opinion, hits the prime from like 1963 all the way to the end with Shock in 77. To me, he was a late bloomer and hitting his prime, because, man, after this movie, I mean, he was just unstoppable pretty much from Black Sunday on. Maybe a bad freaking Mario Bava movie, man. It's just hard to do. I thought this was great. I know that there's a distinct difference. If you see people in the comments mentioning the distinct difference between the American version and the Italian version. I've not seen the American version, but I can only imagine what's different about it. Apparently, it's more comedic, according to what someone's saying. So I don't know how that would work. But I mean, it is what it is. Evil Eye, American version, has a more comedic tone. So there you go. I love The Girl Who Knew Too Much. Evil Eye, the American version, is a totally different experience. Okay, so I've not seen this. Black Sunday was also called Mask of Satan. That's right, and that's a damn good one. I still need to see The Spiritual Staircase from 46. It's considered a proto-giallo. Are you familiar with that one?
Spiral Staircase, it is good. It is good. It's a precursor of a lot of things.
Ooh, okay, we'll have to add that one to the watch list here. For me, this one I think has to get an A. I think that would be where I would fall on it. How about you?
I'll go with you.
Solid A.
This is the beginning. Come on, at least we have to give it an A.
Yeah, this is there wouldn't probably be the rest without this. So I mean, you have to give it.
I'm going to ask you a question that I wanted to ask you about this movie. Do you think that if this movie was done in color, it would have been an S?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, because I mean, you look at the best movies he did were in color. Like okay, Black Sunday would be the exception of it works for that gothic. But man, when you're doing a giallo, man, you need color to play with. I think that's the beauty of it, because they were very dreamsicle films. They were very atmospheric, and guys like Lindsay and guys like Argento and all these guys that we've mentioned, they loved to play with the color and make them very dreamsicle. And I think that that's a big part of what makes a giallo a giallo. You need a little bit of color in there. Personally, that's what I think. But I do like black and white films.
Same here. I like it.
Mr. Dan is here. So happy New Year, Mr. Dan. Spiral Staircase is fun. Hey guys, my blue from Kino has both versions, Evil Eye and The Girl Who Knew Too Much. Oh wow, okay, I didn't know. I don't know if that blue is out of print or what, but I've never seen that for sale anywhere. So I mean, it is what it is. But I believe it's your pick, my friend. What do you got for us next?
Okay, let's go. Okay, I'll go with this one. That when they told me about it, I was not convinced that it was going to be good. But then I watched it and I changed my mind. Is the Paolo Cavara 1971 Black Belly of the Tarantula.
Ooh, very fun title. And following in the ways of the animal at the time, right? Because you have Four Flies and Gray Velvet closely after, and Bird with Crystal Plumage. Big animal time. But what are your thoughts on this one, man?
I loved it. I think it's underrated. there's something different on this of any other giallos that I've seen in my life. The protagonist is actually a detective that at the end he solved the crime instead of being inept and laughable like all the police work in all the giallos, right? So
Yes.
I found this different. I think Giancarlo Giannini is very good in it. He's famous for being in Casino Royale of James Bond, and also Hannibal. He does the inspector in the movie as well. So it's the story basically of this girl that gets killed in a very peculiar way. They get immobilized with a needle through the neck with poison, and then they get carved open from like the torso gets cut open. It's from basically this ritual that a wasp does with a tarantula. So it basically stings, and then it's going to open and
The eggs
the
hatch.
eggs inside. Yeah. Um, the I find how do you say, the killer revelation, the reveal of the killer in this one, I really liked it. Even if I was thinking of the guy the entire time, but I wasn't convinced 100%. I would put it out there, and I want to say that of all the movies that I saw of Giallo, I find this very Bird of a Crystal Plumage influenced. I really can see like him like in the movie, and he came out the year before, so I really can see that.
I agree. I completely agree, and I think that using that whole like the animal thing like that Argento had done the year before, I like to hear that they use it as that was what the killer was doing. Like it was the
Yeah,
whole I thought that was interesting because plumage and four flies, that's how they get the crime solved. Here, this
yes,
is what the killer was actually doing. I thought that was a unique way to use an animal title like that because you hear that title, you're like, man, what is that going on? It sounds like almost a 1950s bug movie, but it's anything but.
yeah,
But when you hear that, I liked how they integrated that, and there was all these women in the spa and men in the spa, and like a lot
yeah,
of them had this tie there. And man, I thought that idea of doing that was really disturbing. Like, and it
yes.
was quite well captured on film. I thought this was really well directed here.
Paolo Cavara, the director, another one hit wonder, eh? Like another one, yeah.
I guess so, yeah, because I honestly I wasn't sure of any of the other. I was going to just ask you, what did
Yeah,
Paulo
no. A
Cavara do
one
other than
movie
that?
wonder, which is, it happens in
And it's funny because this is definitely a disciple of a bird with a crystal plumage, and that happens in America too. Like you get Friday 13th, you get disciples, you get Madman, you get The Burning, you get all these movies like The Prowler that kind of were disciples, and most of those were one hit wonders too. Those
yeah.
directors, a lot of them, Tony Maylam never went on to do anything. Like Joe Giannone never. So I would see this as one of those, but I think a damn good
Yes.
one hit wonder. Like this is a really unique one, and I thought it was quite mean spirited in the way that they were killing these people. Like I thought it was quite dark, but effective. I like this one too. I think this one was damn good. Love the poster for this one in
Yes.
particular as well. That's an
Yes.
awesome freaking poster. I really like this one too. I would say like A minus, man.
I go with you, John.
Okay, so let me go here. Is this one? See, this one is actually missing. If I'm not mistaken, this one's missing. So we can't drag it, but it would be an A if you're keeping score at home, like I said
Yeah.
before. Let's see what people have to say in the chat here. Great one, Boucher. Yeah, that's right. Boucher. Barb Boucher is in this one as well.
Unfortunately, she gets killed first.
Yes, she does.
That part.
Yes, that's true. But you definitely get a little bit more of her in a certain one that we'll be talking about later. What have you done to Solange? Mikey's Morgue says, what have you? Hey, buddy, if you're wondering where we put that was like the second one we talked about. It is right all the way at the top, right next to Tenebrae there. So what have you done to Solange was a perfect Gialli in our opinion here. Mikey says, strip nude for your killer. That one would be like average to me. I'm never a big fan of.
It's all right.
So Sweet, So Dead. That's a Lindsay one. I
Eh,
think it's the Lindsay one. I don't know. Lindsay is, I don't know. I would say of all those bigger, he would be for Jolly at least would be one of the, towards the bottom of the biggies for me. People saying hi, Gore, SVP, The Strange Vice of Mrs. Ward. We didn't get there yet. That's a Martino joint. But I think whose choice? I think it's my choice now,
Yes.
right? So let me go to the list of fun here. And you know what, Matteo? I've been holding this one off for long enough. It's above my damn head, so I think we're going to have to discuss it. I know there's some controversy. I know a lot of people will say, "Hey, that's American. That's not a gialli." Well,
Okay.
I flip them the double bird if they say that to me, because if you don't want this movie included as being a gialli, I think there's something severely wrong with your head. This is from the year 1976. This is from director Alfred Soul. This is Alice Sweet Alice. Yes, Alice Sweet Alice, aka Communion. Of course, it went under the title Communion, and also some other, I think, Holy Communion. Definitely went under some different titles here, but for my money,
That's
this is
awesome, by the way. Yeah,
this is, I think, some of the best cover art I've ever seen. I love this cover art. And I even switched it to that on the behind here. But I love that it's the Giallo yellow too. Like, it's the
yeah.
perfect color for this. Walk me through your first time seeing this movie, your first initial thoughts, and what your thoughts are on the movie today.
All right. So I want to tell you that I find kids in movies usually creepy. So that usually, helps get in the creepy mood. I know it's American. This is a Giallo, 100%. The beginning is brutal. First communion, and you smell the burnt body of your sister. Like, it's not probably it's probably one of the worst things that can happen. I find this a great movie. Uh, Motivations as well. It's like a Giallo. I like the shooting. I like the shots that are done in the abandoned building where the father of Alice unfortunately dies. Um, Unexpectedly, because I thought that he was going to be the one solving the murder.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that one was very unexpected for me. Um, I thought of when I saw it, I thought of Sleepaway Camp for one reason and one reason only. I thought, what a power couple could have been the cook of Sleepaway Camp together with the landlord. They could be like, man, like the nastiest man ever to live. I find the end. I thought it was the priest, but at the end is the reveal of the killer. I really like it. Costume, mask, yellow raincoat. How you can go wrong? This is for me. It's a classic.
I agree. I think it's a classic too, and I think that it borrows the best elements from what makes a American thriller work and an Italian giallo. And
Yeah,
to me, it just culminates into one of the best that there ever was. And like you said, just to start the movie off in the first 10 minutes of taking Brooke Shields, who was not the big Brooke Shields star that she went on to be
no,
at this time, but they smacked her on the cover. She was all over the marketing. Brooke Shields, come see Brooke Shields. And then, of course, she gets burned alive as a child at her Holy Communion 10
yeah,
minutes into the movie, where to me, I saw that. I was like, the black gloves have come off, and they put on white gloves in this movie, which I thought was quite unique, quite fun. You have the raincoat, the translucent mask, which I thought was just terrifying, and the great whodunit. They really want you to think that it is, the lead little girl character, but in the back of your mind, like, it cannot be, but is it not? And they play that whole game pretty much all the way up until the end, where they're still
yeah,
kind of pointing the finger a little bit at her as she kind of breaks the fourth wall when we fade to black, which I thought was a brilliant idea. But Alfred Soul did a great job here with the adding the religious element to this movie,
yeah,
and the whole those church scenes. I thought they were very authentic feeling. I loved the murder sequences. I agree, that guy in the apartment, so greasy, so slimy. You also see him if you're a big 70s horror fan in a little movie called Bloodsucking Freaks. I believe his name is Alfonso. I can't think of his last name, but sadly, these were the only two movies he would ever do. He would actually kill himself just a year after this. He killed himself, which was really sad. But man, that to me is like, that guy. You look like you just grabbed that guy off the street and were like, "Hey, you want to play a weirdo?" You
yeah.
know?
And don't even change.
Yeah, not at all. It was it was really good casting there. And I got to bring up the murder sequence in the stairwell, because to
Yeah,
me, in all the great gialli, there are these great sequences. Like for Tenebrae, we mentioned the crane shot. To
yeah,
me, this stairwell sequence is one of the best in gialli history. I mean, it's just so wonderfully done as the woman's coming down the stairs, and bam, we get the killer trying to stab through the grates, and the way that Alfred Soul kind of shoots this thing. uh,
It is
Tremendous.
very well done. Very, very well done. I have a theory about the white gloves, Grande.
Do tell.
Yeah. So you know that the character that at the end it's like the caretaker of the church because basically they had a child out of wedlock and they got divorced and everything. So I think that she thinks she's a pure being, so that's why she put the white gloves on, even if she used her purity glove to kill other people.
Yeah, and I think that's a great take, and totally, because she feels in her brain she's doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Like, you do have the stuff with the cross, the guy she's killing, pushing off, he's biting on the cross. You do have a lot of the religious stuff, but I didn't think it weighed the film down. I didn't think it was overbearing. I thought it was sprinkled in just perfectly as an element, more so than an overall like oh my god, this is just hanging over the movie. Like, I just want to get to the good stuff. And I thought the acting was great. I thought the lead girl was fantastic. She really didn't go on to do terrible a lot of movies, but she was really good, and I really thought the mother was good.
One critic, maybe.
Yeah.
Could have been a better score.
What's that?
You like the score?
I do like the score. I thought the score was fantastic. What did you think? Not a fan?
Could have been done better. Like, I don't know. A better score, this movie would have been even better. Like, I found it a little meh. But
yeah, I definitely like, okay, if you had Goblin doing the score or Claudio Simonetti or Neo, absolutely. But again, you're in America. You're probably not going to get one of those guys. And it was lower budget, but man, to me, what they did with a lower budget was just absolutely fantastic. I love this movie. To me, it's the best American Giallo that there ever was. It's the Bret Hart of American Gialli. The best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will. I would say S for me. What about you?
Same there.
Okay, so we go Alice. That's not on the list, unfortunately. But again, if you're keeping score at home, that list didn't consider it a Gialli, but that's bullshit. To me, Alice, Sweet Alice is an S tier. But let's see what the chat has to say, because this one, it seemed like the chat really, really seemed to like. Let's see. I've always said Alice was a Giallo. I agree. I know that a lot of people don't feel that way. In fact, when I did the unboxing of that Blu-ray, a lot of people were like, "You're an idiot. It's not a Giallo." And my man Matteo went to bat for me and was like, "It is definitely a Giallo." I was like, Case closed there. Seven Bloodstained Orchids is my favorite Lindsay Giallo. We'll get there. That's one we will discuss. Man, I haven't seen that film since I rented it on VHS back in the day. I wonder, because this Blu-ray, I don't know if you own this, Matteo. This looked beautiful in high def, man. I was blown away by how good this movie looked, because I've seen some grainy transfers of it, but wow, blown away. I would say, would you say Pieces is a Giallo?
It's one of those discussions, right? That if you say yes, someone gets upset. If you say no, someone else gets upset. For me, Pieces can be a Giallo.
Yes, I would agree. And I think it's definitely a movie that was inspired by both, American slashers and Giallos. It's a kind of like the whole thing with the kid and the puzzle and the motive, like that felt very Giallo. But then again, the violence and the kill sequences felt very slasher. So yeah, I would agree. It's definitely Sergio Martino. Gotta love Sergio, man. I love Alice, Sweet Alice, definitely. What would you consider New York Ripper? Giallo, no doubt. Yeah. Don't Torture Duckling is high tier for me, as well as the Psychic. We'll talk about both of those, no problem. Let's see, New York Ripper's XXS. Oh my God, I don't know about that. It's sleazy, but triple X that's a little far. Death Walks at Midnight, another one we'll discuss, although I didn't get to watch that one, so I do apologize. I won't have many thoughts on that one. Short Night of the Glass Dolls, Opera, The Fifth Chord, All the Colors of the Dark, we just talked about. Footprints on the Moon, that's a Balkan joint. We're not going to discuss that one. Duckling, Torso. I like the idea of Alice, Sweet Alice, but I hated the actors, too over the top for my taste. Wow, okay. I thought the acting was quite good. I know the actress playing the mother, from what Alfred Soul was saying, was like suicidal at the time. And apparently she tried to take her own life right before making the movie. So she was very hard to work with. The killer is still among us. Absolutely. I tried to, I liked the ending of Don't Torture a Duckling. I wasn't expecting it. That movie's perfect. Lizard in a Woman's Skin. I tell people who say Alice is a slasher that they think that because they've never seen. Yes, I would agree wholeheartedly. But Matteo, what do you got for us, buddy?
Okay, I think we're going to go with probably the youngest movie we have here, 1987.
Oh, okay, I think I know
the last one, right?
Soave.
Soave, yeah, Michele Soave. Stage Fright, 1987.
Stage Fright, 1987. That one is on the list. I know there's a big controversy whether or not this is or isn't.
That's why I wanted to go there, because it's one of those that will upset people. Is it a slasher? Is it a giallo? It is a giallo with slashers aspect inside. So both of them are wrong. One thing that I know that it is for sure, it is fun.
Yes.
So fun movie, high pace, great killing scene, claustrophobic environment, a killer with an owl mask. Do I need to keep going? Like, I think that's enough to,
Woo, woo, woo.
get people to watch it. The only thing is that it's a little late. 1987, it is a little late. I call these kind of movies like, let's say, True Grit, that has been done like in 2009, I think. I call them a CPR movies. So they're like these kind of movies of genre that are basically dead, and they're trying to, resuscitate somehow. So does this resuscitate the giallo genre? Yeah, for an hour and a half it does, but unfortunately, at the end of the road, I think that the giallo genre is a DNR anyways. So I think that it does a wonderful job. I like Michele Soavi in this movie, not in the other one that he did. But yeah, it's a wild ride, great to watch.
I completely agree. I think this is a fun one. I think this is a good one to watch if you're trying to introduce a giallo to people. I think this would be a great starter one. I think it would be great to watch with friends, a pizza, some sodas. Like, I think a really fun like friend night movie, because again, yeah, you're right. It is a later one. It doesn't have that early 70s aesthetic that is so synonymous with what makes a great gialli, and an authentic one at that. But I do think this too, like, there doesn't have to be obviously there's an era and there's a time where it has its run and its prime, and that was the early to mid to even late 1970s. But I think that this is a great throwback to what those movies were. And Soavi was, of course, Argento's protege, and this was, I think, it wasn't the first movie he did. It was one of the first movies he directed. He would go on to,
I think the first one was The Church, if I am correct, but maybe not.
I see. I thought The Church was 1990. And then Cemetery Man, which I know you love. Cemetery Man. Yeah. Cemetery Man was 94, if I'm not mistaken. I think, or 93. So I think The Church and Cemetery Man were after this. But what a great start for Soavi, because I think he was just such an underrated talent, man. And he was a really good filmmaker. I like this movie a lot. I think this is a fun one. I would come in like an A- for this. I think this is a fun one.
I would give it an A too.
Okay, so there you go. Stage Fright is on the list, thankfully, so we will drag it up to an A-. So we got our third A here.
So, by the way, John, my only critique about Cemetery Man is that here in Italy it was sold as Dylan Dog movie. Dylan Dog, it's an Italian comic strip that was very popular at the end of the 80s. The first issue, it's Night of the Living Dead. And it was supposed to be this, but Dylan Dog is everything but what you see on screen. So people here in Italy got very, very, very upset, because I'm talking like comic strip famous like Batman here in the United States. Like in Italy,
really?
Dylan Dog, the detective of the Impossible Man. It's like, if you ask someone of my generation, will tell you right away.
Was it a marketing gaffe, or was it Michele Soavi was trying to sell it as one thing? And like, what do you think happened there?
I don't know what happened, but what was realized is that it's like not even close to what the comic strip is. So a lot of people got very, very upset. One of them right here.
Fair enough. I did not know that. That is very interesting trivia there. Grant, I didn't like Don't Torture a Duckling. Really? There's quite a few people have talked about that they're into like zombie and the beyond, but they can't get into some of Fulci's Giallo, which I am mind blown with, to be honest, because I think he really did some good movies in the Giallo genre. Let's see. Steele says B- for this one. He considers it Dirk considers it a hybrid. Oh, that one's a blast. Love that owl get up. I do too. I think this is a fun one. I like this one. House of the Laughing Windows. We'll discuss that one as well. We did an in-depth, like a very, in-depth review the last time I had Matteo on. So if you want to see that too, you can watch that. I think I enjoyed Tenebrae. Sorry to bring it up so late. I knew we were discussing it earlier. No worries, man. Island of Death. Yep, I mentioned it earlier. Didn't they do Dylan? They did. Dylan Dog Dead of Night from 2010, which I remember it being quite bad. So
but it's more similar to the comic strip that Cemetery Man. Like it's more of the action,
Yeah,
it's Kaka anyways, but better than that.
Yeah, at least it wasn't like falsely advertised or anything like that, which is never cool.
Exactly.
Let's go back to the Maestro here, just because
all right,
Maestro, why not? Let's go into his very first film. This was his directorial debut, of course, and the movie that. It did put him on the map. There's no doubt about it. This was a big, big, big hit in Italy in 1970. This is The Bird with the crystal plumage. I got this one too on 4K Ultra HD. Goodness here. Awesome release if you're a fan of this movie. Matteo, man, tell me, what was the first time you watched? Was this one of the first Argentos you watched, or was this one you discovered later? This was the world's introduction to him.
I actually started with a bad one. My first Argento movie was Cat o' Nine Tails.
Okay, which is the weakest of the three animals.
The animals, yeah. So then I watch the Flies, and then I watch Bird. So for me, Bird was a surprise, a wonderful surprise. We were talking about the mold of Baba to make a Giallo with the girl do not too much.
Sure.
I think we pass it to Dario, and he made the perfect mold and the perfect shape. This movie makes the formula for the Giallo, but at the same time, he takes the formula and put it inside out. So I really like it. Stylish. The scene in the art gallery at the beginning, it's like shot wonderful with the two staircase. It's like a painting. You're looking at a painting in an art gallery, right? So I really like it. I like the twist at the end as well. Unexpected. This is the beginning for me. In 1963, we say Baba invented for me, everything started here in 1970.
Really? Okay, yeah. So I would be full on board. We were talking about this the other day too. There are some filmmakers that don't make a movie as good as The Bird with the Crystal Plumage in their entire careers, let alone this being your debut in the show. Of course, you get to work with Ennio Morricone based on a promise he had made to Dario's father years and years prior, almost as a joke. And then Argento calls him on the phone. He said, "Hey, you promised my dad." And of course, Ennio said, "I'm a man of my word." And you get these wonderful la 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 la. The pictures being taken. Fantastic. Like you said, that gallery and the murder sequence, which I actually do have on this little booklet here. That's from that's awesome stuff. You do have the whole theme, which we go on to see again in Profondo Rosso and a lot of Argento movies where the person thinks they saw one thing, but they really saw another. And it's that internal
thing.
That internal conflict between the protagonists where it's like, did I see it that way? And they keep showing it again, trying to make you second guess yourself. And of course, the leads are second guessing themselves. You have some very, very interesting motivations for the killer here where, I don't know how deep into this we should get, but basically she was someone who was assaulted sexually.
Yeah.
And, is killing women and assaulting them sexually. And because of a painting that she had seen and, recognized and I guess, identify with the killer as opposed to the victim because she had already been the victim. And then of course, she starts this brutal killing spree that her husband, who loves her so much, is trying to cover up. Yeah. Which I thought was so genuine. And I thought that, all the actors in this movie did a really good job. Of course, you do see Susie Kendall in this, who would go on to be in Torso, and just a gorgeous woman. She doesn't have too much to do here, but it's always nice to see her. She's like the lead's girlfriend in this, and I liked her. Always good to see her. The music for Morricone. I even think some of the humor in this was quite funny. Like they're doing the lineup. And it's one of the people. It's a prostitute, and they say that they're Ursula Andress. So I thought that was funny. I don't know, man. I think this is a damn good one.
I heard not a lot of people, but a few people that I talked to, they told me that it's slow. I disagree with that. I think he has a good pace. So
I think it's a great pace.
yeah,
Yeah,
I know.
I mean,
Some
there's
people they would find that.
yeah, that's odd. I kind of I feel the same way. I mean, there's maybe two movies on here that we're yet to get to that I would say are a little bit slower with
Oh yeah,
pacing, even though they're good.
yeah,
This is not one of them though. I think of the three animals, this is the best.
yeah.
For me, easily, and it was such a big debut, and it was a big hit, and it was a movie that really I think gave him the chance to have opportunity after opportunity. Not his magnum opus. I think that movie comes a few years later, but man, what a huge debut for
Yeah,
me. The bird
you
with the crystal plumage is a slam dunk S for me.
don't even ask me.
So we got our second Argento in the top here, of course, joining Solange and Tenebrae. Let's see what the chat has to say on this one here. Gory Corey says death and a little leaf here. Love Cemetery Man, De la Mort de l'Amour. I'm getting that on 4K soon. That's coming. I actually like Cat more than Bird. Wow, that's an interesting hot take. I would say Bird is the best of those three by far. But I do like the trilogy. I do like all three of them. I just think
Cat has great Karl Malden, man.
yes,
That movie is it's him. Without
yeah,
him, that movie is bad.
yeah. Cat is. I think that one actually is the pacing issues of those
Yeah,
three. I would say Cat is a little bit too crime thrillery, but I don't know. It's an odd duck in his career. Bird was probably the fourth or fifth Argento I ever watched. Not his best Giallo, but I love it. I love it too. I do too. It wouldn't make my top five, but it's close. It would be top seven,
yeah.
I think. I love Four Flies the most of the Animals trilogy. Okay, definitely. That's I've heard that before. I've actually never heard someone say Cat. That's an interesting pick. The trope is called a Rashomon, where people tells a different version of what happened. Okay, yes, the Rashomon, because that I love that trope, and they do bring that back in a lot of Gialli. Profondo Rosso being the one that comes to my mind. The Ole recurring memory change trope. Yep, exactly. Deep Red, I watched it 2 days ago. Well, we'll be discussing that tonight. Hell yeah, man. That's definitely my favorite Goblin score. It was really good. Smile Before Death, The Sister of Ursula. So, okay, we got a bunch of Giallo titles that Mikey's throwing out for us. But, Matteo, what do you got for us, brother?
John, are you ready? I don't know if you are, because I'm gonna shoot a big one, eh?
All right, let's hear it.
Okay, because I want you to talk about this.
Oh, boy.
So, 1964, Color comes out, and Mario Bava comes with Blood and Black Lace.
Oh my God! Well, we got it right here too, and man, I gotta show this edition off just because I'm such a mark for this goddamn movie. We got this awesome cover here, and man, it's close, and I know that we've discussed this too. It's the big three. We have the big three, you and I, and we haven't talked about two of the big three yet, so I won't say those yet. But for me, this has got to be in discussion for the greatest Gialli ever made. I just love this movie from top to bottom. It's so great, and the story that kind of moved into this is astonishing because, of course, Baba had moved away from the company that he was working with for years and years. That he made Black Sabbath and Black Sunday, and of course, The Girl Who Knew Too Much. All these movies, he moved away from them, and the budget was cut from what the reports say, either in a third or a quarter of what he was usually working with. So right off the bat, I would be like, man, you're cutting his budget by down to a quarter. This movie's going to suffer. It prospers. It's some of the colors in this are just absolutely brilliant and breathtaking. And on this 4K, they pop just wonderfully. The black levels are tremendous. I love Cameron Mitchell in the movie. I think he does a great job. I think all the actors are wonderful. But to me, if you really want to watch a Italian Giallo for the technical aspect, this is the greatest Giallo ever. I really believe that. I don't believe there is a Giallo you could watch that has any better technicality shots in it than this one right here. The murder sequences in the dark mansion. Oh my God, man. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. You look like you want to say something. Go ahead.
You know, this movie, like when I was younger, I had to, like, some of the scenes, I was looking at the scene and then I would go back and watch the same scene again and see if I lost something, like a shadow or like a movement or something like that. So I watched, like, this movie, it was like 3 hours, because every time I would go back and look at the shot again. So that's how good this movie is. You
Yes.
watch it twice while you're watching it. So
Yes, I couldn't agree more. And you're right. There are so many shadows and things that you could miss if you're watching it on a first. Like I watched this again and again and again. And like this week, I didn't have to rewatch this, but I had to rewatch it at the same time. It's like, dude, I have to use this excuse. Like, why not? I mean, Blood Black Lace is just a masterpiece. Like some of the, the brutality of some of these kills, like the,
yeah,
forcing the hand on the hot lamp and the drowning in the bathtub to try to make it look like a suicide. I think that some of the kills are quite gory
yes,
and graphic in this.
yes,
But to me, for the fact that he had such a little budget and made his best movie, in my opinion, because I know some people will say, Rabid Dog, some people will throw out, Black Sabbath and Black Sunday, all great movies, Bay of Blood, all great movies. But to me, I think this is the magnum opus of Mario Bava as a
yeah,
filmmaker. And I think it's the most influential Giallo that there ever was. I don't think Argento has that distinct style if it's
no,
not for Blood and Black Lace. And I love the ending. I want to ask you about the ending of the two killers because I see that in Scream, and Scream gets all
yeah,
the love and the hype. It was done best here. I mean, I
much
love how
better.
it's done here. What do you
Much,
think of the
much
ending?
better. Yeah, no, this was, I've seen this before Scream. So when I watched this Scream, I was like, this is a rip-off. It's a rip-off. Has been done. Has been done. But no, it's done so much better, and it's something original. As I said, if there is an original idea, an inspiration for other people, this is the movie. Speaking of inspiration, I don't know if you know, but you probably do that Alan Moore, which is the creator of Watchmen, took the character of the assassin of the killer here, and it's an inspiration for the character Rorschach. Like he looks exactly like it's like the how do you put the costume is inspired to the killer of Blood and Black Lace.
I never see. I did not know that, so I appreciate you throwing that fact
And
out,
the
man.
title in English is better than in Italian. This in this case.
Yes, and I think like we were going back to the ending here, the whole idea of they lock up all these guys, and then the murders keep happening. So in my brain when I first saw it, okay, he's exonerated. This is not. Whoa, wait, there's two killers. Whoa, they're lovers. Whoa, he's trying to scam her, and she falls
Yeah.
off the window balcony, and you expect her to be dead. That scene where she goes back in to confront him, her performance is one of the best I've seen
Mhm.
in a Giallo. I mean, she is heartbroken. She's like, I loved you. I killed for you. I did anything you wanted, and you just wanted my inheritance. Like, that's dark, man. That is like so, oh, what a greasy son of a bitch. You just want to see
Yeah.
her just get him, and they pretty much die in each other's arms. Great stuff. I mean, I love the whole the opening shots of the not exactly mannequins, but standees, like people just
Yes, it
standing in
is. Yeah, that.
purple,
Yeah.
blue, red. Like it's such a fun, colorful opening.
In the beginning of the Giallos, a lot of motive was money. By the way, like there's like at least for a couple of years, there's just like money is the motive. So
Yeah, which I don't know. I thought it worked here too because you did add
yeah,
that love element, which added heart to the movie, and it was like wow. Like I was actually heartbroken for one of the killers. I don't know if that's ever happened in another Giallo movie where I
no.
felt bad for one of the killers if there were two.
So for this one, do we even have to say, or we put it directly up in Paradise?
I think it's an S, and like honestly, it could even deserve its own like row. Like to me, it's this or two others is the greatest. But for
Yeah, I
me,
agree. This one and another one for me can have a tier on top of S, but
yeah, which we could even do. We could even do like the big three. But let's see. The chat seems to really like this one. So let me go here. Oh snap! Fire! Hell yeah! Romero says flies, cat, then bird. All right. So you go reverse order there. 3, 2, 1 there. Very interesting. Hell yeah. I go flies, bird, then Fulci's black cat. Oh gosh. Fulci's cat in the brain is awesome. Oh gosh. Lucio. Blood and Black Lace is an absolute masterpiece. I have it in 2K, 4K. I'll buy it again in 8K, 16K, 32K. I would too. I really would too. This is oh my god, it's a movie you have to buy it. It's like that. It's on Texas Chainsaw Massacre level for me, where I'll
oh
buy
yeah,
it.
oh yeah,
Um, the banger, B&B Lace. Love the look of the killer most of any Giallo, and Scream stole the. Yeah, I always say if Suspiria and Blood and Black Lace had a baby, it would be Scream, because it's definitely. I don't know. I definitely get that vibe from it. Like, but Hell yeah, Neon. Okay, let's see. Blood and Black Lace is one of my favorite titles ever. The title captured my imagination before even seeing the film. That's a great point. Sexy women in lingerie and blood everywhere in my mind from the title. Absolutely. Now, this is, I mean, a perfect film. But if there's one that you haven't seen and it's this one, watch this one. I will say it right now. But definitely in the running for the best of the night. But definitely, I think it has two serious contenders here, Mr. Appendino. But
Absolutely.
yeah, no. So I'm just putting this back together here as I believe it is my pick. You hit me with a big one there. So let me see. What do we got left here? Let's go. I don't think we've done. Have we done Fulci yet?
No, we haven't.
We haven't done Fulci yet.
3 of them, right? 3 we have of Fulci.
Yes. Let's go into a Fulci movie another one I actually own here. This was latter. I believe this was 1976 or 77 off the top of my head. I think this is The Psychic, which I actually own here on Blu-ray. I know this one came out. What's that?
77.
77. Okay, so I was in the ballpark at least. But The Psychic, wow. I mean, I was blown away when I first saw this because I did not expect much, even though I really like one of his other gialli. And I actually like all 3 that we're going to talk about tonight. I didn't expect much, but man, I was blown away by this one. What did you think?
You know, it's the first time that I've seen, when I've seen it, that we're basically dealing with a cold case, right? Because usually, we have something happening in real time. But in this case, there is like this woman that finds the dead body of a person that is inside the wall over their house. I would not love to be dead if I'm a homeowner, to be honest.
Skeleton, not in the closet, in the wall.
In the wall, yeah, exactly. And there's this scary, like this music box as well that he plays, these 7 notes, and I liked it. Supernatural touch by Fulci, Lucio, and I didn't see that coming, to be honest, as well.
Me neither. So, I was blown away, man. And I got to say, like, I thought this movie I've seen a lot of Fulci films. I've not seen all of them because that son of a bitch made a lot of movies. But of all the Fulci movies I've seen, there's none that's more stylistic than this. Yeah. Like, I was blown away by some of the use of red color and close-ups. And like you said, that music box score, I thought that was beautiful. I thought the movie had great claustrophobia with this particular image here, the woman being literally bricked in through the wall alongside, the skeleton that, it's a young woman that used to, great stuff. I loved some of the sequences where, you have the killer walking upstairs. I thought that had great tension. And I played it on my sound bar. Oh my God. It felt like there was literally like a killer above the house. Like when I was watching, I was like, God damn, I was looking around. This movie scared the shit out of me, man.
It is very well shot and good acting as well. I like the guy that does the husband. I don't remember his name, but he was very good. Very convincing.
I thought Jennifer O'Neill did a really good job as the lead here. I don't know. I thought this was like a big surprise because this was right before Fulci became the godfather of the Italian, zombie movie with City of Living Dead and the Beyonds and the, House by Cemetery, like all these movies that he's known for. But this was, I would never know that if you told me, oh yeah, what he made 2 years before or the year before Zombie, this. I'm like, what? Like, how? It doesn't make any sense. It feels like it's 2 different people. I really go ahead.
I have to say that for me, after the big one, there is this one, and then the Word. But this one for me, it's up there. It's up there.
I would say A, man. I don't know about you.
You got it.
Okay, so A for The Psychic because I think that one is really like criminally under talked about. And I remember when I blind bought it, I'm like, is it on here? It
on F.
Yeah. It does not belong in F. It is definitely.
It doesn't.
It's a good one, man. Really like this one. Since we went a long time without Fulci, we'll go right back into another Fulci. Another Fulci with some Florinda Balkan flavor. This
Why not?
It's a lizard in a woman's skin, buddy.
You got it. 1971.
Oh, I mean, this, I would say of the three that we're talking about, I think he did like six Giallos, I believe.
6 or 5, yeah.
Yes, 5 or 6, yeah. So this one is definitely the craziest.
It is.
And definitely I would say one that would age interestingly. Like I would really wonder what the public would think of this movie if it was released today, because it does have a lot of subtext of lesbianism.
Lesbianism, yeah.
And
And also dreamlike, and yeah, this movie is mess you up. Like it's one of those that you watch it. I am honest with you. First time I watched it, I turned it off. And
really,
yeah, I did. And I watched it when I was still in Florence. I had a dog, so when I saw the scene of the dogs that got vivisected, then I said, you know what, it's time to go to bed. Let's look at it tomorrow. So after I watched the entire movie, I liked it, but you know, it pushes the envelope.
yes, and I think that's like I would be curious to see how a current modern day audience would react to this, because I think they'd freak the fuck out, to be quite
Yeah,
honest with you.
yeah. You know, you
But
said it pushes the envelope, but not on one side. It pushes the envelope here, here, here. It stretches it like
yes,
it's
but the
strange.
envelope comes in busted open by
Yeah,
the time you're at the end of this movie, and like I agree though, but like to me, that the highlight of this was all the dream sequences.
yeah.
There's only maybe one movie other than this that is on this list that I would definitely say the dream sequences were as good, if not better. I love these dream sequences. I thought they actually made the film, because I was like, man, Fulci doing constant, it's not just one, it's constant dream sequences, and they're all
It
very
is.
unique and well thought out and done. And Balkan as the lead, like I was saying before, and maybe, I mean, if I'm getting a lead in a Giallo, that's the one, man. I mean,
She's powerful.
yeah, she's so intense and
Yeah.
powerful, and really commands the screen. I really liked her in this movie. And I don't know, I thought this was again a different type of movie for Fulci to do. Like definitely different from the rest of the Gialli he did. It's not as stylistic as a Psychic. It's maybe not as deep as a Duckling, but I thought it left its impact. I thought this one was
Yes.
quite powerful.
Yes.
Very offensive, but in a very good way. And the ending I thought was fucking pretty wild. I was like, wow, like this is some powerful shit, man.
Yes. Yes. But at the same time, you know, if there's the drugs and like there's like yeah, it pushes every envelope. Drugs, lesbianism, animal cruelty, like it goes everywhere. It's like why not?
Yeah,
What
it's
have I not done? You know, if you look at the notes of Fulci, what I have not done. Let's take a look.
that's so true. With that being said, I give this a solid B plus.
I am right there with you. Yes,
Okay.
because I look at some of the movies on A and then I go, no, you know, they're just down.
Yeah, it's one that I like it, but it's not on the level of like Stage Fright. It's
Yeah,
not. But it's fucking crazy. If this was a crazy list, it would be in the S tier. Like, there's no doubt.
it will be
Yeah,
incredible movie.
it really. Yeah, absolutely. Let's see what the chat has to say. Worthy of an A. Okay, I had a lot of fun watching Lizard. I'm sure you did. Anyone who loves lesbians would love Lizard and Women's Skin. Lizard and All the Colors are very similar with the trippy stuff in those two. Yeah, that's a good. I think that's a good analysis. I do. I think that's a pretty good comparison there.
There is another couple of movies that are very dreamlike.
Yeah, and one of them we haven't talked about, Martino one, which I had forgotten some of the dreams. I was like fucking blown away upon a rewatch. Looks like Wes Craven was influenced by Bava and Fulci. Okay, fair enough, sure. Jamie Hart is here. Happy New Year, Jamie. Dropping to say hello and dropping us a heart. Always good to see Jamie. Jamie is great people. But it's your pick, Mr. Appendino. What do you got for us, buddy?
Okay, let's go with another Martino. So we go, you know, that kind of route, and we go with the strange vice of Mrs. Worth.
Well, I'm going to disappoint you a little bit. Upon a rewatch, I really felt this one had horrible pacing issues. I don't know. I remembered if I didn't rewatch it, I would have put it in an A. But upon rewatch, man, the love story in this movie,
It's pretty bad.
it just drowned the movie to me. But what are your thoughts? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
I agree with you, John. Not probably the weakest Martino, in my opinion, of all the gialli he had made. There is Edwige that, of course, saves the movie to
Naked.
like being a terrible movie.
Yeah.
I like the Vienna setup. I like it. I like the city that he shot to. Razor Killer, classic. Can't go wrong with that. Um, Double Killer again. So that one a little bit throw me off after Blood and Black Lace. You're doing it again. Um, the motive is money again. So even that one, it got me a little bit. But the scenes with Edwige are only that it's worth your ticket.
Yes. Yes.
But said that for me, this is a easy C.
I would say exactly with you. I'd say CC minus. I thought this was the
Yeah.
most disappointing one upon a rewatch, and it's very highly rated. And I'll be honest, when I first watched it, I would have told you A, but I was like, man, I was sitting here, I'm like,
Yeah.
man, it's close to 2 hours. It feels it. I was really
It
feeling
does.
the length of this
It
one, and
does.
I'm never really one to be like, I don't know, but okay, the ending of this movie too. Like
Yeah.
what? Like they're driving in the car. They see Ed Weech. They drive past her. Then for some reason they go back, and they're like, "Oh, it's a trap." I'm like, "What? Why did you keep driving then?" Like, I don't know.
It's a bit all over the place.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Again, you're
But
right.
if this is the worst Martino, like, not bad.
Not bad at all. No, it's. I would agree though. It's definitely one of the weaker Martinos. I would say,
Yes.
definitely in the CC
Yes.
minus range for me. I don't know. Even though that's unpopular, people seem to love that movie, but I don't know. I liked Mrs. Ward, but didn't think her vice was all that strange. Okay, strange vice. I love especially the ice door lock pairs as good as the door lock scene in Torso.
Oh wow, that one is.
Gastaldi is the man. Well, you know what? God damn it. Somebody mentioned Torso. Why don't
Let's do
hell
it.
we're going to go to Torso next
Let's
because
do
to
it.
me, if you want to talk about one of the greatest Giallos too, this one's got to be in the conversation. It's definitely the most infamous movie that Martino ever did, and we were talking about this too. But Matteo, tell me, what are your thoughts, memories, and overall opinion on Torso?
I loved it from beginning to end. Set up in Perugia, which is it's a university city, so that makes exact sense. The scarves that get used of different colors, the lighting, the beauty in this movie of the women that are in this movie, it's incredible. So much sleaze as well,
Yeah.
sexuality. Uh, he presses on all the right notes for a great giallo, and has in the chat they were saying the lock scene. It make you gasp every time. You're like, yeah, it's for me. This is in the top 5 best giallo of all time, hands down.
I couldn't disagree with you. I think that's fantastic. I think this was really his peak as a filmmaker. I would even go as far to say that. Like for me, the scene that blew me away upon a rewatch was this woman is just walking in the woods, and you have this amazing like blue hue on it, and man, I was just for a few minutes there, you know how they always say movies are escapism. I escaped to I was right next to her in the woods. I was just totally like immersed by the movie. I'm like, wow, like this is fantastic. And then the killer is seen in the distance, and your heart just beats out of your chest, man. And I loved how that kill was executed as he's dipping her head in the water, and you're like, oh my gosh, like what? This is insanity. I agree. I think it's the most well-rounded Martino. You have a little bit
Yeah,
of the sleaze. The kills are fantastic. The filmmaking is off the charts. Again, you do get a couple of wonderful dream sequences here that I thought were fantastic. Yeah, there's
good
it's
reveal of the killer, great reveal of the killer.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
even thought the whole idea of like the killer doing his thing and leaving, not knowing Susie Kendall was still alive. I thought
yeah.
that was even. You're like, whoa, wait a minute, where is this? I remember the first time I got so excited. I was like, oh
Yeah,
shit.
no, this movie, it's yeah, it deserves to be up there. I agree.
It's definitely an S tier for us right here. So now
Okay.
we have 5 in the S tier here. So things are getting very juicy and very spicy in that top row because I mean Torso very few get better than that one, man. But let's see what the chat has to say. Torso is so good. The cat and mouse game with the killer is top notch. I agree. And I think that's why it really blew up in America, because this is the one that like everyone knows this movie. Like this is like Mrs. Ward is not as tall. Case of Scorpion's Tail. They're not. This one is known in America. Like I remember hearing about this when I was a kid. So that's definitely, counts for something. Man, good night. I gotta go. Everyone, enjoy the rest of the stream. Thank you so much, man. Happy New Year to you and your family. I have to admit, I love the Italian title better. The bodies show signs of carnal violence. That's a good one. But I don't know. Torso is pretty badass too.
Yes,
but
I agree. This one, I'm fine other ways.
And Mayan says, "Ciao, grande," and Matteo, "Arrivederci." So
Arrivederci.
Says Spence is amazing. Your pick, my friend.
All right, let's go. 1972, which no Giallo was made during that time. And let's go with another dreamlike one. Probably, I think for me, this is the more dreamlike one of the list. It's Death Walks at Midnight.
Ooh, Death Walks at Midnight. Now, Matteo.
Another one-hit wonder by Luciano Ercoli.
Mm-hmm.
And there's drugs involved. And probably, for me, has one of the best killing device of the Giallo genre, which is the fist, an iron fist with spikes on top.
Mm-hmm.
That is quite the killing device. I think that one and the trauma killing device are probably one of my favorite one in the Giallos. Yeah, the dreamlike, it's great. It mess up with your head. It mess up with the protagonist. She doesn't know what is real. She doesn't know what is not. She doesn't know what she has seen or what she have not seen. And I think there's probably good amount of red herrings. And I found it a very Blood in Black Lace inspired as well.
Yeah, wow, that's exactly, yes. It was very inspired by that. And of course, I think it takes great, ambition to try to make a movie like that again. But yeah. I thought they did a really good job here. And yeah, you're right. It's a shame this was a one-hit wonder. It does have Nieves Novato, I believe her name is, as the lead, Valentina. Beautiful looking woman, really nice, like beautiful eyes, just a beautiful lady. And I thought this one, it was really cool from the stylistic standpoint of the dream sequences. And I thought this one had a nice atmosphere, like all throughout.
Yes.
I also would say that this one had an interesting look. Like, I don't know if the colors popped more when I went back to rewatch this one, but it had a nice, like, Technicolor pop to it. And I was
white.
Like, oh, man.
A lot of white and red.
Yeah. And
I mean,
yeah, I thought it was beautifully done. I thought this was a good one. This was one I had only seen once before, so I definitely wasn't as familiar with it. But this is one that I got to pick up.
The one thing that John that always leave me puzzled is the roof scene. I don't know if I like it or I don't know if I find it stupid. It depends on my mood. So if I watch it, I don't know. I don't know.
How did it stack up this past time? Was it a half full or half empty?
It was. Oh, that was cool. And then after you think about it after 2 minutes, nah.
I don't know. I definitely like some of the filters too. Like they do these like the black filter with like the red, like when they're walking and shit. I thought I was like, wow, because I love black and red color schemes. So I thought that really worked.
Yeah.
I don't know.
In the roof, you see a guy throwing a knife, and you can see the shooting after the guy with the knife already on the thing. I was like, yeah, it got old a little bit bad, but yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
Sure.
For me, it's a C.
Yes. Oh, a C. Okay.
Yeah.
Neon says, I swear y'all keep reminding these Gialli I have on the shelves that I still need to watch. Haha. Okay. Let's see. Yes. The Noose Omatic is a great trauma. Yeah, no, that's a fun one. That's Piper Laurie. May she rest in peace. Death Walks at Midnight. Death Walks on High Heels. Death Smiles on a Murderer. And a few more. Well, yeah, I mean, Death anything. It's just like, sign me up, right? Steel saying LMAO. I was going to say B- on this one, but that will round it down with the minus to a, like I guess, a CC+. Now, was this one on here?
I've seen John, man. It's second, yeah.
There you go. Okay. And then now my pick. So we got how many left here? We only have a few left, I think.
Probably 5. Probably.
I've got I think like 5 left. So
Yeah.
See, I don't want to end with like I want to make sure we end with I guess the biggies, but
With
at the same
banger.
time, I don't know if we should go biggie.
Can I go with another one, John, to take it out of the way?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, let's go 1 year before 1971. The Fifth Chord.
Didn't get a chance to rewatch it. Honestly, don't remember it. So you can go and give your thoughts.
So I find the title terrible compared to the Italian title. The Italian title is Giornata Nera per l'Ariete, which translated is a terrible day for an Aries. Aries intended as a zodiac sign book because the movie it's all based on astrology, on horoscopes. So there is Franco Nero, our Django.
Oh, love Franco Nero.
Yeah. And it has a very good cinematography. The cinematography is done by Vittorio Storaro, that he did Bird. He did The Last Emperor, Apocalypse Now, and Dick Tracy. He's the one that does the cinematography in this movie. So all like the cinematography, there's a scene at the end where one of the small kids is chased by the killer. And it is incredible. It's great cinematography. There's just a light on a side going and the kid going inside this garage abandoned. It was very, very good. The Fifth Chord, I have no idea why it's called that way because basically the killer kills on every Tuesday. And Tuesday is the best day for doing things for Aries. So they figured it out that this is through the horoscope that the person that was in an accident at the beginning of the movie and it was assault, which is kind of a cheat. He has like a collar the entire time, so you don't think that he's the killer, but at the end, that's what happens.
This sounds fucking crazy. What?
I know. And to top it off, every time that there's a murder, there's this glove that lose a finger, right? So they cut off the finger of these gloves, and probably that one has to do with the 5 chords. I don't know. But I found it different. It was great cinematography. If it wasn't for the cinematography, it would be a C. But I found it good to give it a B.
Fair enough. It's not on this list here, but it's certainly it sounds intriguing and a half right here. I'm wow. That is Franco Nero, the cinematographer from Bird, Aries, astrology. What? Like, wow.
It is. Yeah, it is. It is out there. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds like it, but in a fun way. I'm changing my New Year's resolution to covering all these damn gialli I haven't watched. The Fifth Chord is on that list as well. There you go. Yes, Bazzoni, love his filmography. Okay, there we go. We got we got some giallo fans in the house tonight.
Yeah, 1900s.
Yes, that's right. Storaro did the Conformist in 1900. Great cinematographer. The motive is kind of weak, but visually it's amazing. Well, hey, that counts for something. I could always watch a movie if it's visually interesting. So this is one I'll have to look at. So I apologize for not being prepared on that one.
No problem.
But let's talk about one, man, that I think is one of your favorites and would be in your top 5, if I'm not mistaken. If I'm wrong, I do apologize, but I think this would be one of your faves. We did talk about it in depth.
Yeah, let's be brief.
Yeah, we could be brief here. The House with the Laughing Windows.
For me, maybe the best giallo atmospheric giallo. The reveal of the killer, probably top 3 of the history of cinema. It leaves you shocked at the end in a good way. The story is different. The pace is different. It's a different giallo. Not for everyone. People can say it's slow, but the last 15 minutes, it gets you on your seat and you don't let it go until the end.
I agree. I think it is. I would add this. It's the most haunting giallo ever made. The ending shot of the wall and the mouth laughing, and there are few cut to credits as haunting as that. Like when I first saw it, I was like, well, at first I was fucking shocked, to be perfectly honest with you. But I mean, as I was like, wow, like just chills kind of. I'm like, I am not safe right now, man. Like you just want to like, get under your covers or something and just hide.
Yeah.
I definitely agree though. It definitely is a little bit slow. This is one that definitely deserves a better release. I think there's only an out of print
Yeah,
DVD of
that
it.
one let's not start about, because sometimes you tell me with private message and you're like, oh, this came out in 4K. And I think if that's have a 4K, why Windows doesn't have a DVD or something? Like it gets me, man.
Has to be distribution. Maybe whoever owns it's holding it over. I don't know. Maybe Richard Rubenstein wrote.
And also one thing that I love, it's it looks like the movie is done with this yellow like filter. It's yeah, the cinematography is great.
I agree. And for Matteo, this is you think it not having a Blu-ray pisses you off? It's not on this damn fucking tier maker.
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised.
I'm actually surprised. This is like some really obscure Giallos on it, and it does. I'm like, what? Like Laughing Windows has to be on any good Giallo list, man. I think
Yeah.
it's a freaking great movie, man.
I hope people are more aware, like, of this movie, if they're not already are. But yeah,
We'll see. Neon says, "Okay, Laughing Windows is the one I'm going to have to check down." Yeah, I agree. I think that's
it's on the tube with in Italian with English subtitles. It's hard, but it's the only way.
yeah. I streamed it when we reviewed it for the show last year. Yes, definitely a jaw dropper, extremely creepy. Yeah, that is exactly what I was like. And then I was like, this is freaking unsettling. The laughing, man. Oh my God, so good. And that title is great. Like that's
Yes.
a great title. And the movie lives up to the title. I completely agree. Yeah, it definitely needs a Blu-ray. So hopefully, Severin or someone tracks it down and releases that thing on Blu-ray high def because it deserves it. I'll torrent that motherfucker. Okay. Matteo, what do you got for us, buddy?
All right, let's go with one of the two flower ones that we have.
Oh, okay.
We go with the seven.
Bloodstained Orchids.
Yeah, yeah.
That one's on here.
It's not or it's not.
It is. It is on here.
Okay, see, that one is in and not Windows.
That's what I'm saying.
Life is unfair, man. Just 1 second, because I have some visual aid to my help. What did you think of this one, John?
So, I will preface by saying that I have the Umberto Lenzi Giallo set, and this is not one of the movies included. I think it's better than all of those movies. I really do. Like, I did not like Orgasmo. I don't know. Knife of Ice was okay. There's some okay, Lindsay Giallos, but I thought this one was better than all of those. I quite liked this movie. I thought this was above average. I would come in at like a B plus. Of course, this has like the whole thing with I think they call him the Half Moon Killer, and it's not necessarily playing with the astrology like the other movie you were talking about.
No. But I like a serial killer with a business card. It's good. Like, like every time it's like, yeah, it's me. So I like that.
It's the I don't always drink, but when I do, it's the business. It's Dos Equis.
Exactly.
Yeah. I thought this was quite good. I thought this was an above average Giallo, and this is one that after I watched that box set of the Lindsay Baker stuff, I was like kind of like, I don't know, but I think this is one of the better Umberto Lenzi films. I would say like B plus for me.
Yeah, I would say B as well, John. I like the killer always calls people before killing them. It's probably a recall to call to the Mario Bava movie.
Mm-hmm.
And there's one thing that I don't like of this movie. I don't know if you will agree with me. The final scene, it's very anticlimactic. More than a drowning, it looks like that he has a heart attack. So with that one, I don't really like. I want to tell you that Lenzi and Fulci got ostracized by the Catholic Church after this movie and Duckling because of who the killer is.
Well, Duckling, it makes sense. Yeah, and I guess it does here as well. But this movie is definitely
they really got like that's why Fulci is not recognized in Italy. It's because of Duckling.
Wow. And
Yeah,
that's like I think his best movie, but oh
I know,
man.
but you need to understand that we are in a country, like they're in a country where the Pope lives in the country, like, yeah, and it's 1970, so like it's not even 2023. Like, yeah,
And there are children being drowned and murdered.
yeah, exactly.
I maybe I could see it. If I saw it through a Pope's eyes, maybe I'd get pissed, man. Um, let's do okay. So that one goes in as a B. Let's gloss over a couple because we got couple big ones left
Yeah,
here.
yeah,
Um,
sure. You wanna
Cruising with Al
cruising? Yeah,
Pacino.
yeah,
I appreciate you thinking of this one. This was an interesting pick. Of course, it's Pacino. He goes undercover. There's like a sadomasochistic, like gay men's club,
yeah,
and they're finding like body parts of these men all over the city.
yeah, yeah.
And I thought I was like, would never have thought it until you mentioned it. And I was like, yeah, that is kind of like something that would happen in a Giallo. With that being said, love Al Pacino. He's a lot of fun.
He's
I
the
think this
biggest
is a
actor
really
we have in these movies, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
I would say this is like close to an A for me. I know it's kind of hated, but I like it.
I don't care what other people think. That's how I go. But I think it was very underrated. Maybe because where he's set up, people don't see it with like the eye that he deserves. Some people maybe that are bigots don't see it the way they're supposed to be watched. I really like the end as well because you don't know if the killer is still on the loose. Is the killer the girlfriend? I don't know. So I really think it's a solid A, cruising.
I would agree. If it's
Yeah.
not on here, unfortunately, but I do think it kind of should be. I think that leaves us with three, and they're all pretty big, unless I'm missing any. If I am, correct me, and we can gloss over that.
I will let you know in a second.
I think, yeah, I have three here, but I don't. I just want to make sure I didn't skip any on you.
Yeah, the big ones.
Big ones. Okay, you want to introduce, and then I'll go second, and then you go last. You want to do that?
Yeah, let's do a big one that, on my opinion, is smaller than the other one because of his end.
Really? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so let's go 1971. Mario Bava, Bay of Blood.
Hell yeah, buddy. Love this one. The most influential.
Influential, yeah.
Yeah. And I think another masterpiece, aside from the ending, which I know we make fun of together.
Yeah.
It's literally an S plus until that ending where it's just, okay, now it's an S.
Yes.
Walk me through your first time seeing this movie too, because I was fucking floored when I saw this and how way ahead of its time this movie was. And I know it's been ripped off in Friday the 13th with the shish kebab kill, but what were your initial thoughts on this movie? Had you seen all these American slashers that borrowed from it before you saw it, or did you see this first?
No, I saw Bay of Blood. I saw Bay of Blood first, and I recognized right away when I saw in Friday the 13th the first two deaths. They're exactly the same as Bay of Blood. I think that better than Friday the 13th, the cinematography, the color, it's all better than what has been done after. This is probably after Blood in Black Lace, the second for me. It's number two in Bava cinematography. The end ruins it. But if you turn it off 2 minutes before the end, you have a great movie.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
a quick
Just 2
question
minutes.
before,
2 minutes. 2 minutes.
yeah, before I go on and ask you a little bit more about this, I gotta ask
Yeah.
your thoughts on the original Friday the 13th. I see somebody mentioned it here. Thoughts on the original?
On number one,
Yes, just number one. I know the whole series it took on its own identity, but thoughts on the original Friday the 13th?
I like it.
You like it. Okay.
I like it.
Anything
Yeah.
great or anything else you want to add about it, or just like it?
I like it. I'm not. I'm a slasher. Yes and no. Like I watch slasher movies, but like they have to be done correctly. We can go to overkill in a slasher movie very easily, and I hate overkill. When a kill is done correctly and cleverly, you got me. But if you go with overkill gore and just wanted to show me something that will make me uneasy, no, I'm not. I'm not for that. But I think the Baba, the movie that's perfectly. Every kill is perfect in this movie.
I love how he sets up everything too.
Yeah.
Like this was the movie where I watched this. I'm like, this like other filmmakers are playing checkers. Bob is playing chess. It's just such a well-crafted movie where, of course, you have the murder in the beginning, and then the murderer gets murdered. Oh my God. I remember when I first saw it, I was like, whoa, like that's a fun way to start this thing off. Like hit me with a left when I think I got the right, and I'm going to know who the killer is the whole time. Very interesting.
Yeah.
I love how they introduced the kids because that those four people, two girls, two guys, they're swimming a little bit. They set them up. They're watching through the peephole. That 20 minutes of the movie, 25 minutes or whatever. I think it's a quarter of the movie. I did the math.
It is. Probably 20 minutes for sure.
That one part went on to define horror in America in the early 1980s with the slasher movie. And the 1980, if 72 was the year of the Giallo, 81 was the year of the slasher in America. And that doesn't happen without this movie right here. No. But on the surface too, it's so much more to me than just a movie that inspired the slasher genre, because I love how you have the professor, he's playing with the Beatles and he's putting them all there. Like, that's so like the psychology of that. When I first saw it, I thought nothing of it. By the end, I'm like, oh my God, this was literally like foreshadowing the entire movie and every death that we get. I thought that was great. I love the location.
Great setup. This is, yeah, I would say, yeah.
Did you think the location? Do you know where that is? Because it's beautiful, that location. I don't know.
I think it's in a lake. I think it's Lago Maggiore, which is near Piedmont, like near Turin. So that's that's a beautiful place.
Gorgeous. And I thought another one that, where's the blue? Like, I think it had a Blu-ray, but it's out of print. So I would absolutely have that if they were re-release it. I wish they would.
Okay, would be great.
Yeah, it really would. I think a slam dunk, easy S tier, and I would agree with you. It's my second favorite Baba, right behind Black Lace. And that's a very good big list, because I mean, you know, Baba has Kill Baby Kill and Black Sunday and Black Sabbath and just Rabid Dogs and Elsa and the Devil. So many great. I think five. What is it? 5 moons for an
for an August. Something.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's hard to follow all the Giallo's title.
Yeah, because they're also long. Bay of Blood Classic, personally, I felt like the ending is fitting and funny. I have a weird sense of humor. See, I thought the ending didn't fit any of it, where I was like, what happened?
I was I was like, no. Like, I was really like, no. I don't believe it. No.
Like, no. Hell yeah!
Do you remember that I told you before what that was, right?
I don't. What did you say?
Yeah, I told you before that's a metaphor that he does, Baba, as the new generation killing the old one in the 1960s.
That's right. You did tell me that.
So that's, okay, but
Twitch of the Death Nerve is the best title for this movie, by the way. Bay of Blood is it sounds quite American, Bay of Blood, to me. Like, okay, like whatever. Another Friday the 13th like movie. The OG Friday the 13th always played like a Giallo than a slasher to me. That's why I asked Matteo that. I was very curious to know if he was like secretly a big fan of the first one and just thought the rest of the series kind of, went off the rails or whatever. I think the first 5 are really good of Friday the 13th. After that, just like anything else, kind of ran its core. Hell yeah, Neon going through all that crap to get the property and done by their own kids. I was dying of a fit of laughter. Maybe you could find it funny. I was just scratching my head when I was like, that just did not fit the rest of this movie, but maybe that's me.
No.
It does, Alpha, but it a bit lazy and cheats because you never see Mrs. Voorhees. $5 for an August moon. That's right. Absolutely, Dirk. It's a great for the slasher, but shitty for a Giallo, in my opinion. I like the original Friday the 13th, but that's just me. We got 2 left, buddy. I believe we have 2 left here.
Yeah. Where do we wanna go first?
It's my pick. I think we got to go Duckling first.
Okay. Let's finish with the bang. Okay.
Yeah, I think yeah. So first of all, I mean, I have the movie right here. Lucio's masterpiece, in my opinion. The first thing I want to point out is the score from Riz Ortolani. I think other than Goblin,
Yeah,
it's the best score in any Giallo. I think it's better than any score in any Bava film. I'll say that.
yeah,
And Riz would go on to work with a lot of great Italian filmmakers, and of course, Cannibal Holocaust. The score of that always comes to mind. I just love Riz Ortolani. The
yeah.
music in this is great. The whole idea and concept of the story to me is just so dark,
It
even for
is.
a Giallo, and the fact of killing children.
Yeah.
Um, always threw me off. I think there's no better Giallo for red herrings than this one. I love
Yes.
the way they spread those out, and you do have the sexuality there. You do have the wonderful tension. I I love this movie, man. What are your
More
thoughts?
nudity than sensuality, right? I find that like there is sexuality, but it's more nudity. Like there's not that much of a. It's not that sleazy. Like
No, definitely
thinking
not.
that is done, but like think who have done it is not that sleazy, right?
Yes,
Done
yeah.
by folks.
It's not Bloody Iris sleazy at all.
Yeah, no, or
But
even
I'll
New
never
York
forget.
paper sleazy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you never forget the Barbara Boucher and hey, you want to bring me that lemonade? And
yeah,
the kid
exactly. And you're like,
That kid, I know that kid wasn't actually on set with her. They
yeah,
weren't. It wasn't legal. But oh my god, like when you see that I was like younger when I saw it. I was like, that's amazing. Like, god damn, that kid's so lucky. And then when I found out he wasn't really there, I'm like, god damn it. But my gosh, the way they do the scene with Florinda Balkan when she is I did it. You know, she's this crazy witch doctor in the middle of the forest and she admits to doing something that she did not do and all the people in the town kind of corner her and they play that beautiful music as she's brutally chained and beaten to
yeah,
death.
did do that. Yeah.
Oh,
That scene is incredible. It's something that in that part of Italy can happen, man. Like this movie is real. As I said to you before, Windows and Duckling are two giallos that you cannot take out from Italy. Like they can only be shot there. The
yes.
rural south of Italy is like that. If you think that the first one that gets accused, he almost gets killed by the mob like when they took it out like that's how the mentality was. And I think Florinda Balkan like it's a award kind of performance, the one on Duckling. And as I said before as well, due to the children killed, due to who the killer was, this was a huge middle finger to the Catholic Church.
And did you like that twist? Because I thought it was brilliant, even though it is quite predictable. I actually think the first time I watched it, I figured it out. But I thought the motive was really good here. What did you think?
I think it was psychologically done correctly. You know, it's a trauma, death that has been done before, and you have not overcome. It makes also the sorry, spoiler alert. We He makes the priest looks human. Like sometimes that you have like when you have the uniform as a priest, you're like seen as like infallible, wise, and everything. And no, he's human as we are. So I
Yes.
love that.
I think they did a right thing too of making him younger. Like had
Yeah.
they done the old man, gray-haired priest, I don't it's just so done. It's so overdone. I don't know about you. Are you a Star Wars fan?
Yes, I am,
I
but not
got
the last
great.
three. I want to specify, not the last three.
No, I agree. The actor playing the priest reminded me a lot of Hayden Christensen, who played Anakin in 2 and 3.
Yes.
To the
Yes.
point where if they ever did try to remake this, which I hope never happens,
No.
he would be the only guy to me that could play that part where I'm like, God damn it, it looks like Hayden Christensen, Italian Hayden Christensen in the 70s, man. Like,
I
I don't
want to
know.
make a bad joke and say that he will look great because he's in Jumper. Got it?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Very good. I thought that was a good. Yeah, and his career fell off just like the Catholic Church, I guess, threw this one off, and the
Yeah.
priest falls off the cliff. Which that if anything does not age in this movie, it is
Hey, come on. Hey.
it's still perfect. I think it's a perfect film. I think it has to be in the conversation for the best Giallo ever. And I would say this: it's the most raw
Yeah.
Giallo ever.
In your face.
Yeah, it really is. I think the subject matter, the red herrings, The
Atmosphere, everything.
music, direction. I don't think Lucio ever made a better movie than this. And I know that like people will swear up and down
You
by
mean Giallo
Zombie.
wise
I
or in
think
general?
overall, I would say
Okay.
overall.
Yeah, I like a lot of horror, like House by the Cemetery. I don't want to say, I'll put it out there, but that has a wonderful score too. The House by the Cemetery.
Oh, dude, and I believe that's also Riz, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
yeah.
So yeah, I mean you can't really beat it.
For me, John, this one and the one we're gonna talk after need to have a category on his own, on their own.
Fair enough. This one again, S tier. You know what? We know what we're gonna do for first time ever on Granny's Graveyard. We're gonna add a row, and
Okay,
I'm gonna say here we're gonna go the big three
okay. I'm down for it.
because I know that one is Black Lace, one is Duckling, and I won't keep you guys in any more suspense. The last movie we're talking about here is also in the big three. I'll just drag it right up there because they just don't make them like this.
No.
It's Dario Argento's Profondo Rosso. Matteo, your thoughts, my friend?
Perfect Giallo. That's it's easy to say, but this is shot wonderfully. It's a trip from beginning to end. It's great red herrings, great chemistry between actress and actor.
Yeah,
um, there is so many good kills. There is something that it makes you go, why? Like the puppet, mechanic puppet coming out of the darkness, you're completely out of it. And then there is the psychological part, which Dario always goes for it, the subconscious, trauma, PTSD. He always goes there. And revealing of the killer detail. I thought I saw something. What did I see? What did I not? And then you think it's done when, Carlo unfortunately dies, and you're like, well, that fell a little flat. And then it opens the door. You go into the corridor again, and then you have the flashback, and then you have her face right there immediately after the flashback. It's incredible, John. Perfect Giallo. Nothing to say.
yeah. You mean you hit everything, and I would just tack on to say, I think this movie, next to Dawn of the Dead, has the greatest horror score of all time,
Yes.
and of course, it's also done by the same. It's done by Goblin, and I know you said this to me. I think over a year ago, you said there are some people that don't like
Yes.
the prog rock in Deep Red, and that's a part of what makes this film so great. If this didn't have the prog rock, I mean, to me, it would just, it's still an S, but it would just be missing something. It's the music in this is phenomenal. Bum, 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 bum. Amazing. Go ahead.
But also, I love the theme that is not the first one, like the main theme. There's a different theme when he goes inside the house and he does the. I love that score too, which is not the same one. It's done differently, like different notes. And I find that part without the music, it would be so much different. And that part of the murals and everything, I find that very, very Hitchcockian as well. I thought that if you take that, do it in black and white, can be like an Hitchcock movie.
Yeah,
It's
and I
so
think
much.
that too, this was like, as much as I love Bird, and I'd say Bird is an S or A or an S or whatever. This was the movie to me that made him the maestro. Like this was the first of many great movies to follow. Like I would say it's either this or Suspiria as his best movie. To me, they were one and two. They're always one and two, and then I, throw a Phenomena, throw a
Yes,
Tenebrae, throw a Opera. Plenty
depends
of
on the
great.
mood.
Yeah, definitely depends on the mood. But to
Yeah,
me, like the reason that Dario Argento is the maestro is because of Deep Red, Profondo
yeah,
Rosso. It has everything. I want to touch a little bit on what you were saying, David Hemming and Daria Nicolodi. What
yeah,
great chemistry they had. And I know there are some people that say they don't like the longer version of this. There's two cuts. I know there's the hour 45, which is the lengthier cut, and I believe there's an hour 31 cut.
yeah,
I always love the hour 45 cut better because you get more of them together. You get more character scenes of the two of them arm wrestling or the two of them fighting in the car. And I know that a lot of people probably say, oh, it's out of place. But as opposed to a Strange Vices Mrs. Ward, where I felt that kind of weighed the film down. Here, I think it lifts the film up. I love their chemistry with one another.
I agree.
He's doubting her because she's a woman, and she's like, if we're going to solve this, you have to, just see me as an equal. I love that conversation between the two. And of course, you can't mention this movie without this doll here, man. Yeah. That creepy doll that comes out, and I feel like that is so influential too. Like, how many creepy dolls have we seen over the years? Like, I would say James Wan is got to be the biggest fan of this movie, because it's everything he's done feels like it was inspired a little bit by Deep Red, whether it be the Dead Silence movie with all the, Billy the Saw puppet, or, even movies like Malignant and Insidious and so on and so forth. You see that the creepy doll kind of showing up and stuff like that. I think this is such an influential movie. And man, I think, it has to be in conversation with these big three. So let's do the hardest thing ever, Matteo.
No.
You gotta pick between your children here, Matteo.
Yeah,
and here's to the chat. Pick your favorite of those top three. What is the greatest giallo of those three? In my opinion, they're the three greatest of all time. It's okay if you have a different opinion, but of those three, Matteo,
no, I agree.
What do you got?
Okay, John, I'm gonna be easy because I gotta, because I really think I have to go Profondo Rosso.
Oh, Profondo.
Cliche, very cliche, but that's yeah, I can watch it like every night, no problem. And
if this is cliche, then I want to be cliche forever, brother. I mean, I can't argue with you. I mean, I will say this. I think this one probably is the most raw and the most heart. This one, I think, from the technical standpoint, is the way to go. But if you're talking all around, it is this movie. I agree with you. I think it has everything. There is no hole in it. And I laugh my ass off when people say, "Oh, I can't watch the hour 45. It's a snooze fest." I'm like, dude, I wish there was a 3-hour version of this movie, because I can never get enough of Profondo Rosso and that, opening scene of the kid, and just incredible sight.
Opening scene, exact like the curtain opens all red. Like, come on, man. I incredible.
Can't beat it. The Dream School Lullaby score, for me, Deep Red would be, I think it's the greatest giallo of all time. Let's see what the chat has to say, though. I did open it to you guys. Let's see. Let me scroll up here. I think we were here. Not the last three, spoken like a true Star Wars fan. Well, I'm right there with Matteo. 7, 8, 9. No. What edition is that of Don't Torture? This is the Arrow edition. I did the reverse cover here. You could also get, I can show you guys this cover, which is, I thought, far inferior. It's just like a woman holding a duck. I didn't like that. I like Florinda Balkan being crazy. I think that's cover right there. For Bava, Fulci, and Argento, I simply choose not to compare their gialli to their horror. It's too tough. Okay, well, I can see that. Don't even need to say anything about Deep Red. Well, that's true. The reputation does speak.
I agree.
I really wish Argento and Fulci could have made the wax mask. That movie suffered from that. I kind of agree. That's not one I really care for. I don't know. How about you? Deep Red is pretty good. I like Plumage a lot. Great set design by Dante Ferretti, cinematography by Storaro, and music by Ennio Morricone. Well, I love Ennio's score, but I don't think anybody has anything on Goblin. Goblin was just on another level. I love the atmospheric feel of Suspiria. Oh, of course. Grani, wow, the doll reference you made to Saw. I do. I believe that. I in my heart of heart believe that he took so much inspiration from Dario. This is my favorite Goblin score of any they've done. I would say this and Dawn of the Dead and Suspiria are just unbeatable scores.
I'll take Deep Red over Suspiria soundtrack.
That's a bold statement. I don't know. It's tough. To me, those two movies they made them back to back, and I think that's his two best movies. I really do.
Oh no. The score.
The score, yeah, I know. Yeah, I think that's, I don't know. I'd be curious what people have to say about the scores. I would probably go Suspiria score, but, movie, I think it's damn close. Team Cliche. I'm really surprised y'all didn't have your Vices locked room. I mean,
we had 25. We had to choose, otherwise it would be,
Yeah, I think I liked Matteo made this list. I thought he did a great job. I really liked the additions of like cruising and some other body double. I would never think of those, but I thought that they were great. Grani, just watching it over again, then you'll get 3 hours. Haha, just kidding. Exactly. Tenebrae is my favorite, but I can't argue that Deep Red is Argento's best Giallo. Well, yeah, exactly. I think that's a fair statement. Picking these top threes, like ask somebody to pick their 3 favorite kids. Matteo literally said that to me, I think, in the past. So.
I have kids. We have to admit it. You have a favorite. Come on.
I plead the fifth. I don't have any kids.
My wife was laughing. I can hear.
I agree. Great score for Dawn. Well, Matteo, we've been at this over 2.5 hours, man.
It's been a blast.
So much fun. I want to thank you for coming on. The chat was just so interested and invested in this, so I want to thank everybody in the chat as well. Thank you to any new subscribers and new listeners, watchers in the chat. If you're catching the replay, let us know your top 3 or top 5 or top 10, however many Giallos you want to give us. Let us know down below. And if you want to pick between these big 3 and explain why, please do. I think that's always going to be something interesting to hear. Matteo, you got anything going on? Anything you want to promote? Or I know that, you don't promote a lot of content on here, but anything on other channels or anything you'd like to promote?
The other thing that I do, John, is not very movie related. I usually the other thing that I do as a podcast is in Italian, and it talks about soccer. So I don't know how much of people are going to be interested in that, but if you are, just check out my Instagram and.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely, man. We got a couple more comments and we'll call it. No great list, y'all. I'm biased for your advice. Okay. Only on the Graveyard. Great show as always. Only great stream, y'all. I got to say, Matteo, I really enjoyed hearing your knowledge and insight into these films. Grana, you were okay too. Thank you. Matteo, when Matteo hit me up for this, I was so excited. I was like, yeah, there's nobody that I'd rather talk gialli with. So I'm so happy that Matteo can make the time tonight. There's so many people I want to thank. I don't forget anyone. Kramer accidentally winning a Tony and Seinfeld. Yes, absolutely. But everybody, will be back next week where I will be picking random remakes out of a bag. It'll be a lot of fun, whether they're good, bad, or goddamn ugly. So I'm very excited for that. Matteo, again, thank you so much for a fun night in the Graveyard. You're more than welcome. And we will catch you next time only on the Graveyard. Too sweet, peace, and good night, everybody.